O Show. This is the Big 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 O Show. This
So here we are. I wanted to show you the backyard again because we had some trouble last time, but you know, CuttersEdgePro.com does some amazing stuff, and there are the boys and the girl. They're having fun. There we go. Right, Maiden? Right, Bono? There we go. They're having fun. I'm having fun. Look at our Sylvester palm. It is beautiful. We got another one in the front yard like that. You can take your home and landscaping to the next level. And the artificial turf, look at that. Look at that. The two dinosaurs going at it, huh? Look at that. Gotta love the dinosaurs. Look at them. They like to bite each other's legs. That's what they do. They play with each other and then they bite each other and they piss each other off. It's fun. One is Bono, which is the one farther away from you, and Maiden. She's the girl right here. She's a badass. That's for sure. So anyway, see the flowers are coming out. Very nice. CuttersEdgePro.com, folks. This big tree there will start budding that I'm showing you there soon. And it'll have all kinds of flowers. I'll post another video and I'll show it to you. This is a backyard where everybody gets to hang out. Over there in the corner there, I put the barbecue and cook. So that way it's the farthest away from the house, you know. If I light myself on fire or somebody else, we're out in the corner away from everybody. There you go. See, getting some flowers coming out, which is a beautiful thing. And I swear by this artificial turf, it always looks phenomenal. I don't have to cut it. I don't have to water it. And so I'm saving a lot of money, hundreds and thousands in the long run, because I'm not watering or, of course, cutting the grass. And you know, here in South Florida, we cut the grass like every 10 to 14 days.
There's no need to drive around South Florida wasting valuable time looking for a new or certified pre-owned Acura. Go to the #1 volume sales dealership in the Southeast United States. Craig Zins Acura of Pembroke Pines. Purchase with pace and space in a dealership tailored to your needs. From home buying to providing that personal touch. Contact the 2020 Satisfaction Award winner Craig Zins Acura of Pembroke Pines. 888-776-5123. That's 888-776-5123. Or visit them at 15601 Pines Boulevard in Pembroke Pines.
Welton Rayom has more than 62 years of litigation experience handling insurance disputes. They're committed to resolving even the toughest insurance claims quickly. Call them for a free consultation. 954-966-4646. At Welton Rayom, they don't get paid unless you win. Property damage claims to your home, business, or condo as a result of a hurricane. Welton Rayom can help. Water, mold, fire, smoke damage, Welton Rayom can help. Call 954-966-4646.
If you're a Miami sports fan, then there's only one store to go to, and that's Caneswear at Miami Fanwear in Davie. They're your one-stop shop for all your Inter Miami CFs, Canes, Dolphins, Panthers, and Marlins merchandise. They have hats, t-shirts, game day jerseys, and so much more. Located at 2511 South University Drive in Davie, and open 24/7 online at caneswear.com or intermiamiwear.com. Call them at 954-835-5597. Caneswear, the spot where Inter Miami and all Miami sports fans shop.
When you move, you need a reliable company led by passionate folks, eager to assist its customers during a transitional process that needs to be smooth. Call Essential Moving Experts at 844-368-5750 for all your local and long-distance moving needs. You can rely on Essential Moving Experts. Mention the Big O Show and get $150 off. Family owned and operated, they offer free 30-day storage, full-service moving, fully licensed, bonded, and insured. Moving was never so easy. EssentialMovingExperts.com.
For over 16 years, EJDConstruction.com has provided South Florida residents quality craftsmanship, accurate project management, and exceptional service. That's why EJDConstruction.com is an A-rated member of Angie's List and the Better Business Bureau. When you're looking for the right custom home builder for additions or home remodeling, please call my friend Eric at 305-433-4843. That's 305-433-4843 for EJDConstruction.com.
The viewpoint, statements, or beliefs expressed on the following program by the host, guests, or callers are not necessarily the opinions of FantasyXS.com, Media Group Inc., ownership, management, sponsors, or website. When it comes to South Florida sports teams, very few in the media have witnessed, lived, and covered it like the Big O. Let's start the program dedicated to your favorite South Florida teams with a passion that's unmatched. The Big O Radio Show is on. Here's the Big O.
All righty. Good morning, boys and girls. Hope you all are feeling well out there. I'm feeling good. I'm feeling fine. It's a Wednesday. I know it was frustrating last night, and we did our Heat and Celtics recap last night. It is up if you want to catch it, and you can listen and watch our recap on everything that we saw last night, and we talked about it. I mean, we'll talk a little bit about it today here, on the show. Got some other things to talk about also on Le Programme. So we'll have some fun there. Good morning to one and all, and thank you all. Yesterday, I did a couple of segments for you guys yesterday, but I was not in the best situation yesterday. And so I had a doctor's appointment, and nothing serious. I just had to, all right, I'll tell you, I had a colonoscopy, and by the way, let me say something here. The people at Baptist Health were amazing as always. But I did something stupid. I'm 56 and closer to 57, actually, because October 1st, I'll be 57. So I'm a hell of a lot closer to 57 than I am 56 now. And so it was the first time I went to do a colonoscopy. Thank the Lord, flying colors. The guy says, hey, you don't need to come back for 5 years. So I'm good and all that kind of stuff. But I had a friend of mine that ended up getting colon cancer, and that's what triggered it, because I have that stupidity in my mind
like I'm sure it's human nature with a lot of you guys, like, wow, that's an uncomfortable test, and God, it's awkward, somebody's gonna put a camera in my ass, that kind of stuff. And so you kind of have that like odd thing, and you want to kind of put it off as much as possible. Don't do that. I got lucky and I waited way too long. You should do it by 50, and so for those of you out there that are at 50, or by the way they do things, you don't even realize anything, brother. Nothing. So, and they do it in a very, and there's no more of that drinking liquid that you used to have to do. You just take pills. Now you'll be going to the bathroom a lot that day, and that's why I was not going to sit here for a couple of hours. Hey, Sean, I got to take a break. Hey, Sean, I got to take a break. So I wasn't going to do that. Yes, I'm giving you guys all the insight, okay? Maybe too much insight, but I would rather sacrifice myself as the guinea pig and talk about it, and maybe some of you are thinking the stupid things I was, like you just keep putting it off and you think it's nothing. I feel fine. I feel fine. And I did. I feel fine. I had all the blood tests, everything was fine. It was like, everything kind of predicted that the test would be nothing, and the test was nothing. And so great, but I still did the stupid thing in waiting, almost 7 years after the date when they tell you. So for those of you that you're in your late 40s and you're about to hit 50, men or women, by the way, go have the test. And it's really not embarrassing. It's really not. They do it in a very, very clean, professional fashion. They make, the patient feels very comfortable, all that stuff. So I would encourage all of you to go do it. It's nothing. Considering what you think in your mind, you know what I mean? It's funny because in my mind, I'm thinking Fletch and I'm thinking Moon River, it's just, these are the stupid ass things that go in through your mind while you're thinking about this. You know what I'm saying? And you keep putting all this stuff up, and it doesn't resemble anything of what you think it is. And it's just really nothing, actually. When it's all said and done, you're like, dude, why didn't I do this 6 years ago when I hit 50? What kind of a dumbass am I? You know what I'm saying? So I'm just saying, for those of you, I don't want you to take long. God forbid. And, you might have something that can catch it early, and so, yes, that's all. All it was a checkup, and thank the Lord, the checkup was, flying colors. Okay. So there you go. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. And once again, Baptist Health, thank you. Excellent job, and way to make the patient feel really comfortable and dignified and all that kind of stuff, that you're just, it's done the right way, So there you go. Adam says, oh, I'm 46. I got my first colonoscopy last year. It's worth the discomfort knowing you can avoid cancer. Yeah. Wow, you're a badass. You got it done at 46. That's, the date is 50 at least, but smart on your part, man. Why not get it done ahead of time? Make sure, peace of mind, and that's the other thing, by the way. That's the other human nature part about it. When you're going to have the test, leading up to it, all the kind of bad shit just starts running through your mind. It's so normal, it's like you're thinking the worst, and it's like, what if this, what if that, that kind of stuff, and scares the shit out of you. But I'm just saying, if you haven't done it, do it. It's really simple. They do it in a very respectful fashion. I just think, well worth it. I got to tell you. Brian says, I lost my grandfather to colon cancer before I was born in 1972, and just lost my cousin last year to colon cancer at 58. There you go. Yeah. Yeah. Alex says, I have to do it. I'm 53 myself. Alex, do it right away, man. Do it right away. And it's nothing. It simply is nothing. Seriously. Nothing whatsoever, dude. It's the easiest process out there. You know what I mean? It's just the one day that you don't eat and you only have some liquids or whatever, and you're drinking those pills, and then you got to go to the bathroom. That's it. Stay home that day, and stay close by the throne, and then that's it, bro. It's no big deal. It really isn't, and the peace of mind is amazing, dude. GP Trap says, good morning, Big O. 57, you're a youngster. Well, I'm 56. Not yet. 57, October 1st. I'm sorry about your friend. It's a simple procedure, and you don't feel a thing if you're 50. Get one. Yes. It's super. I mean, it was ridiculous. I go, wow, this is what I put off because of crap in my mind. Like, stupid. I'm an idiot, So get it done. Okay. And I do this only because we're all the same, man. I'm no different than any of you out there. I'm not special or anything like that. But I think it's kind of my job to talk about things that people aren't willing to talk about. And maybe it encourages you to do something that could save your life. You know what I mean? And it's such an uncomfortable conversation that you're not going to barely have with your friends or family members, much less anybody open up a mic and actually do it. But I don't care. I'm going to talk about things. And sometimes, like in sports, I will tell you things that you may not want to hear. You may not want to hear it. You might think I'm crazy when I tell you they got to fire Dale Talon. Or you might think I'm crazy when I say, they should hire Chris Greer as the GM. You might think I'm crazy when I say, Flo's going to get fired at the end of the year. I say shit before anybody else. Before anybody had the balls to say, hey, you got to trade Huberdeau for a real stud. I say the shit that you don't want to hear. You might think about it. It might piss you off. When I tell you Bam isn't a star, but deep down inside, if you really think about it, and that's kind of what I do here. And I'm not afraid to talk about things that other people don't see or they're afraid to talk about. And this is something that I'm sure most hosts will never talk about it. You know what I mean? But that's the idea, is for myself to sacrifice myself. So that way, whatever, you guys can make jokes about me or whatever, that's fine. I don't care. But if one of you goes to get a colonoscopy, then I succeeded. And maybe, I helped you. And if it takes me being the punching bag, of you making jokes about me and my colonoscopy or my hot dog on in the panhandle or whatever it is, but that's what it's going to take. So do it. Please do it. Props to you, for being open about this. Hopefully it will push people's minds at ease to getting it down. Yeah. It's nothing, dude. I mean, that's the part that when it was all done, I was like, wow, what a moron I am. Why did I put this off? I put myself at a major health risk. I waited way too long. I got lucky, but I don't want any of you to wait as long as I did. Don't be as stupid as I am. Get it done right away. Orlando, you should get a second opinion. I know a guy, a great doctor, his finger's thicker than a D-sized Duracell battery. Well, then it's more of a massage then, not really a colonoscopy. Michael says, I got colon cancer at 47. Wow. Yeah, Michael, I hope you're all right, man. I hope you beat it. Giovanni says, I did mine last month. Sister, mom, all have polyps. So I went in, checked it out. I'm 53. Good job, Big O. There you go, Giovanni. Good job for you. Eric says, prep is not bad. You just can't eat for about 24 hours. You drink a lot of liquids and go to the bathroom a bit more than usual. That's it. I had a little Jell-O. I hadn't had Jell-O since I was a kid. Wife got me some Jell-O last. You got to eat orange Jello. You can't eat red Jello. Okay. There's also certain things that you can drink liquids, but certain liquids you can't. Okay. The actual procedure was nothing. They put you under, and when you wake up, you don't even realize they did anything. Exactly. Nothing. That's it. There you go. GP Trap says, it's the nature bee, Big O. Well, you know what? Whatever it is, it helps. The nature bee always helps for me. The age for the first colonoscopy is 45 if you have family history of colon cancer. Really? Okay. All right. If you have history. Okay. All right. I don't have any history that I know of, at least. You know what I'm saying? Pat in Asheville says colon cancer is slowly growing cancer, thankfully, but if you don't protect yourself through screenings, it can get you. Yep. And by the way, I am not waiting 5 years. The doc said 5 years. When I hit 60, I'm going to go back and do it. Okay? I mean, it's stupid. It's a ridiculous test. You don't nothing. You don't feel anything. You don't like Eric says, you don't even notice it, dude. At all. So I'm not going to wait 5 years. Now that I know what it is, okay, that's it. And I figured when I hit 60, that's a good age. 3 years, a little over 3 years from now, that's more than enough. Move on. Jay says I do the color guard test every 5 years. Bro, the insurance pays for it, so I'm good. So I'll do it the other way. But the color guard thing is actually a cool thing. Colonoscopy pro tip: buy a bidet. It is worth it for all your trips to the bathroom, and you will never regret owning one. $99 Tushy bidet is an easy to install. There you go. Big O, procedure just for colon cancer, a test for any cancer form. Also, what age did you do the procedure? Well, I think I've already talked about all of that. All the technology that we have, and we're still having to check colon that way. I heard CT scan is an option. Hopefully in 15 years when I have to do mine are different. Ricky, man, it's nothing. It's not like it used to be, actually. It's a lot easier, the process now. Really, seriously, it's not anything. It's not as evasive as you think. It's not embarrassing. It's not uncomfortable. It really is nothing. They have got it down to a science that is awesome, dude. Seriously. It's super impressive. Okay? And I'm sure they do that. What I went through at Baptist Health, I'm sure that every other place is the same way. But all I can tell you is that Baptist Health, they were golden, bro. Golden. Eddie says, Big O, I had it done at Baptist. All I remember is that it was 8 people around me. They put a mask on me, and I was out. Afterwards, they asked me if I wanted a cigarette, and I don't smoke. I joke about the procedure itself. I refer to colonoscopies as getting a full Katie Couric. There you go. As a fireman, we get them done at age 40. Truly, no big deal. Yeah, man, it is. It's nothing. Nothing. Knight, thank you for the love on the super chat. He says, chosen wide receiver 3, a chain. RB2, calling it now. Chosen only makes the team if there's injuries. Calling it now. You and Omar Kelly will be disappointed. Unless there's injuries, the numbers just say he doesn't make the team. Good friend of mine just passed away of colon cancer last week. 43 years old? God, that's terrible. I'm so sorry, Pat, man. My condolences, brother. So, Alex says, okay, convince me to call my primary so she can recommend it. Yeah, dude, get it done. Get it done, bro. And it's nothing. It's a joke. The whole procedure is a joke. It's not anything like you think at all about the uncomfortableness, the embarrassment. None of that, dude. It's none of that. Seriously. They do it in such a professional, clean, respectful fashion. that it's just nothing. Seriously. Willie is in the house in Colombia. Big O laying in a bed rest. Got sun poison and still feel kind of crappy. Damn, dude. Hang in there, brother. Holy shit. Dougie Fresh says Dairy Queen is offering a free colonoscopy with every 50 drive-through hot dogs ordered. That's kind of what you need to clean out your system, is a Dairy Queen hot dog on the panhandle. I am a witness. That shit will clean you out like completely. Okay? In fact, I think that's why my colonoscopy was so good. Because I had that hot dog 2 months ago that gutted my entire body. If I had any lymph nodes or anything, it got all, washed away. And so when the doc went in, was, hey, everything's clean. Of course, I had a Dairy Queen hot dog. Clean my ass out. Jamie says, Big O, I had my first one at 47, and it's probably the best sleep. Oh, yeah, that's another thing. I did ask them if I could take those drugs home because I did sleep well. And Billy, yes, me and Sean are doing great. Thank you, sir. C. Dola says, eat your vegetables and drink water. I do drink plenty of water. That I do. I don't eat enough vegetables. That is a major failure in my life. Okay. Besides just being a failure overall, but yes. Big O, is this procedure or test just for colon cancer? Well, they check the prostate and the colon all at the same time. So, kind of a bang bang. You know what I'm saying? So it's good. Hey, man, we need it. You got to have it. And, you walk away with a peace of mind now. And that's really nice, folks. I'm just saying, I went through it. I want you to go through it. If you haven't, I encourage you. I beg you, okay, to do it. That's all. Nyberg says Big O got a colon pre-clean from the Panhandle DQ. Exactly, that's it. What else do we have? Orlando, I'm willing to bet you Xavier Howard will be on the team after this season. You think after all this time, the Dolphins made a good contract for him, he won't play ball and restructure to stay? I don't know, Nelson, man. I have no idea, my brother. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. I say to hire Chris Greer, and, they do it. I say to trade Huberto, and they do it. I say before anybody to fire Dale Talon, and they do it. I say that Flo is going to get fired, and they fire him. I tell you, Byron Jones a year ago was going to get released this offseason. I told you a year ago that X would get released 2 years from now. I mean, I don't know. I told you, Nelson, you keep talking about Dalvin Cook, that he won't play here. Whatever, my brother. I mean, you can see my batting average, and then I can see yours. And you know what I'm saying? Nobody does what I do in the media. Nobody. Absolutely zero. But the track record's there. All you gotta do is listen. Did I not tell you that the tackle was not coming here? Oh my God. Did he sign here, Fleming? Did I tell you that it was money? Oh shit. $4 million. Isaiah Wynn, 2.3 to 2.7. They weren't willing to go probably there. Whatever, bro. I mean, you want to argue with me, Nelson, you go ahead and keep arguing, my man. It's all good. I told you already. I already told you. X is gone next year. I've said it over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. But go back and listen, because you don't listen, right? I've said it over and over again. I said the only way he comes back is if he balls out and then they restructure and then they talk about something. But on the current contract, he's gone. He's history. He's in the archives. But if you go back and listen, I don't say flat out that he's gone. I say, well, if he balls out, he has to ball out. Haven't I said that? Because he has to play for Miami or for another team because he knows he's going to get released. So I've already told you that X has to be more motivated than anybody else to have a great year this year because he knows he's going to get released. And knowing that he's going to get released, he has to perform at a high level. And then Miami could decide something at that point. But why do you think they drafted Cam Smith? Because they want to groom him this year to then move one of the guys. Because you have to pay Holland. You have to pay Phillips. You have to pay Waddle. You just can't keep an X and Jalen and everybody else, and plus his injury history. So there is probably a 95% chance that he is gone and a very slim chance that he comes back because of all the salaries. Tua, Robert Hunt. You're not thinking business. You're thinking like a typical fan, Nelson. That's the problem with some of you out there. Just like the Deebo Samuel bullshit 2 years ago, and I kept telling you, they just traded for Tyreek. They signed Cedric. They drafted Waddle. They're not going to make a move for Deebo Samuel. So it gets to a point where you can't take on too much salary. So X will have to take the kind of pay cut that he's not going to be willing to take probably. So I don't expect him to be on the 2024 Miami Dolphins. But if you want to keep arguing with me, like all the other things that I talk about on the show for many years now, you go ahead, bro. You go ahead. But I'm the only one in town that tells you about this way ahead of time. Before anybody has even the inkling or the balls to say fire Dale Talon, I say it. Before anybody has an inkling or even has the balls to say trade Jonathan Huberdeau for another star, I say it. And before anybody even thinks in the middle of a winning streak that you're going to fire the head coach, I say it. So, Nelson, you go ahead and continue. You know, I think you probably think you're talking to some fan on a YouTube channel running their shit. And, that has no insight, no contact with the NFL, like you, who has no insight, no contact with the NFL. But you keep guessing.
The Sportstradamus has spoken.
Love those guys. Anyway, Big O assuming X has a Pro Bowl caliber year this year and gets cut traded after. Do you think the Dolphins retire at 25? He's worthy of it. That's a good one. Yeah, I don't know. Let's see how it finishes. But that's an interesting conversation we'll get into eventually. I could see a chain being a third on the team in catches. I have a feeling they want to use him as a pseudo wide receiver. Seems like he's getting a ton of work lined up at receiver so far. It's OTAs, bro. They're not going to wear out veterans. Relax. Don't look too much into this. Okay? Vince Lombardi died from colon cancer. He refused to get a colonoscopy. For real? I did not know that, Eric. Wow, that's sad. Sucks. It's kind of like, Bob Marley had like that gangrene and like he refused his religion, like would refuse. I think it was something like that because of his religious beliefs. He refused to get the medical treatment or the operation. It's like, yo, dude, come on. We can fix this. You're like the greatest star of all time in reggae. Come on, man. The world needs you. And we lost Bob Marley. And, it's like, shit. We never recovered from Bob Marley.
You know that? Like rock stars died, more rock stars came. Like major rock stars. Pop stars die, major pop stars come back. Country stars die, major country star. We never had another Bob Marley. The world of reggae never had. Peter Tosh is like the closest thing. But you know what? Bands like Revolution, which I love Revolution, by the way. Love Revolution. Okay. I can go see those guys in concert all the time. But like we never got a monster. Another monster. How weird is that? It's the weirdest thing. Nobody has ever been able to come up with that kind of historic music. Nuts. That's how special that guy was. His music transcended every goddamn thing, every generation. It still goes on. We'll be hearing Marley's music for the next 1,000 years, dude. And we never got another one. Crazy, man. We never got another man or woman on the reggae side to make legendary songs. How crazy is that? Anyway, I don't think he has to ball out. I think he has a typical Xavier Howard season, and the Dolphins ask him to restructure. Let's see. Restructure what? And play behind Cam Smith? Yeah, don't think that's going to happen. But, you know, hey, man, you can, whatever you want to spin it to, my man. You know? Big O, did you name your doggy Ziggy after Bob's son or Ziggy Stardust? Total transparency here. My daughter named Ziggy. I only named Maiden and Bono, the big dogs. My daughter names the little dogs. She gave the little dogs all their names. I name the big dogs because I'm the one that really brought the big dogs to the house. You know, the girls love the little, I mean, they love all the dogs, don't get me wrong. But I'm the one that said, no, I want big dogs in the house, you know, because I always feel like the little dogs are the greatest alarm systems in the world. But I still think for protection purposes, you know, you got an alarm, you got a gun, whatever. But I always think like, you know, I think dogs have always been, big dogs have always been a part of my life. And I'm a big proponent on having, you know, a couple nasty mofos roaming the house and, you know, just kind of deter things. That's all, you know. So, yeah, I named the big dogs. And obviously Maiden for Iron Maiden, my favorite metal band, and Bono for... Yes, sir.
Sasha Barkov is on the ice for the morning skate, reported by George Richards and David Dwork.
Okay.
He's wearing a white contact jersey, but that's a good sign for us tonight.
Yeah, but they said he could come back if he had to come back that night.
It was weird, though, because they said it was a shoulder injury on TV, and then they reported a lower body injury.
Yeah. It's just hockey doesn't have to tell you exactly what it is. And they just get away with that bullshit. You know what I'm saying? But the difference between the Panthers and the Heat. Okay. Let's get back to my dogs. Are you ready? Are you ready with me here? Are you ready? Let's go. Let's get on the ride. Let's climb on board here on the Big O coaster. Let's tell you the things that others will not tell you. Because maybe, I don't know, they're willing, they're not willing, they're worried that they may make somebody uncomfortable on the team or the PR staff or whatever, or that they've got to walk into the locker room and then ask the questions. So Barkov can miss because there's a whole bunch of dogs on the ice. And the Heat they don't have dogs. They only have one dog. But they have like smaller dogs is what they have. They don't have the big nasties. They don't have any Carter Verhaeghes on that team. None. No matter what Ira Winderman tells you, Tyler Hero or Gabe or any of those guys, they're not Carter Verhaeghe. And as much as I like Caleb Martin, who's the only guy I think has the potential to be a star out of that group, okay, next to Jimmy, there are no Carter Verhaeghes there. None. There are no Bennetts. There are no Reinhardts. None. Nada. Nay. Okay? Forget about Tkachuk. We know that. That's like, forget it. But the guys next to Tkachuk, in between him and Barkov, they're better than what the Heat have. Why? I think I've been consistent from the get-go. Have I not? Didn't I a couple months ago, Sean, say I expect more now from the Panthers than I do the Heat? Did I not say that? Did I not say it's a did I not talk about this already? But let me just enlighten you guys out there. I love what the undrafted players are doing. But Bam Adebayo isn't Carter Verhaeghe, my man. He's just not. You know what I'm saying? And that's the difference right now. And so when Barkov is out, you could survive without Barkov. You can't survive without Jimmy because there's no other dogs left. There's some pups out there. There's some decent little dogs out there, but there are no big dogs. There's no Bono. There's no Maiden roaming around your house. There's no mean mother like Maiden who just has these talons and these fangs that are ready to just eat you alive on the other side of the door, which whenever a delivery person comes, the funniest thing is to watch them step away from the door as the door trembles. Anyway, that's really that's why the Barkov thing and your Maurice, you can sit back and say, yeah, we can hold off on Barkov. I got Duclair out there. I got Bennett out there. I got Montour out there. I got Verhaeghe. I got Tkachuk. I got Bob. Bob's playing out of his freaking mind. Do you understand what I'm saying? The Panthers are way more talented than the Heat. The Heat are gritty. They're tough. They're led by one star. Panthers, yeah, they got a couple stars. 3, 4, maybe 5. Who knows? I mean, 40 goal scorers don't just fall from the trees, dude. And that's what Carter Verhaeghe is. So that to me, that's why you can kind of take it a little easy with Barkov compared to if Jimmy went out, because obviously Jimmy is the equal to Tkachuk and Barkov, right? If Jimmy goes out, brother, you got to hurry and get him back in there because there's nobody. Look at last night. Bam Adebayo, you got out-rebounded. Well, he only had 5 rebounds. You got outscored by 17 points. He scored 10 on 4 of 7 shooting. That a star? No. Because he has to feed off of everybody else in order to be effective. He can't dominate himself. It's not who he is. You know, that's what goes on. That's why the Barkov thing is a little easier for the Panthers than it would be for the Miami Heat. Miami Heat cannot afford to lose a Barkov. If they do that, tents fold because you can't ask the rest of the guys to carry you that way. Frankie Fresco, thank you for the love on the super chat. He says, we got 2 live events this weekend, WWE Night of Champions, Seth Rollins or AJ Styles, AEW Double or Nothing, The Elite versus Blackpool Combat Club. Okay. Seth Rollins or AJ Styles. That's that one's got me a little dumbfounded here. I am trying to figure out what angle do I use here to pick a winner between Seth Rollins and AJ Styles. AEW nothing or nothing, the Elite versus Blackpool Combat Club. This is easy. Okay? Because something called the Elite, you figure, okay, well, I've got to pick the Elite, right? Because they're the Elite. But I'm going to go because it's opposite day today, right? Where was opposite day? Was that on the Mickey Mouse Club opposite day? Was it on Zoom? Well, what show was it that had opposite day? Anyway, I'm going to go with the Blackpool Combat Club only because it's too obvious to pick the Elite. So I'm going to go with the non-obvious, and it's such a convoluted name. They're Blackpool Combat Club. I don't know what the hell, how they came up with that name, but I'm in. I'm in with the Blackpool Combat Club. That's confusing enough, tongue-tying, so we'll do that. AJ Styles has a wrestler's name. Seth Rollins has a rocker's name. I'm thinking Henry Rollins. AJ Styles, I'm thinking somebody that, can you smell what the AJ is cooking? So I'm going to go with AJ. He's going to win in some style against Seth Rollins, who probably should be rocking with Black Flag, opening up for the Blackpool Combat Club. Henry Rollins is part of a band called Black Flag. Forget it. It's all good. Sometimes I do things that I know that, it's just all of you are not going to pick it up. Some of you will pick it up. Some of you won't. That's just kind of the way it is. So we go, all right, Sean, do I get a thumbs up or a thumbs down for Rollins or Styles? I went Styles.
Styles, I hope you're wrong.
Okay, so you think I'm right. Okay.
No, I think you're wrong, but...
Huh?
But I don't go against you anymore. I think you're wrong, but I don't go against you anymore. It works out in your favor every time, so I'm not. And then I hope Blackpool Combat Club wins because I believe they win because they want to extend the feud longer. If the Elite wins, it's over.
Okay, I see. I have no idea what that feud is all about. Okay, but okay, all right. There you go. Good stuff. And by the way, if you want a little wrestling talk, there's some wrestling talk from last night, the Squared Circle Digest. Step in, baby. Get it done. I have a 100-pound dog that goes and hides under the bed anytime he hears something. Really? That's funny. My dog Maiden, she attacks anything, dude. That is the most aggressive dog I have ever had in my life. I have never had I can't even take her, I can't walk her around the neighborhood because it's just like she's dragging you everywhere because the second she sees anything, dude, another person, another dog, a squirrel, a duck, the dog wants to attack anything and everything. Perfect guard dog. She is the perfect guard dog. Holy crap. She's a perfect guard dog. Bono needs to get riled up and then he goes. But Maiden, holy shit. Wow. She's scary. Like you have to be really alert with her to make sure she never gets out. If she gets out, I got problems. Big time. Big problems. Big O, I was saying for months, Trill should move to safety. I heard that the coaching staff is on the same page. I'll say it again. This would be an amazing move, and I think an upgrade from Jones. Jay, we still don't know if he's going to play safety. It's more of a, like a coach was saying, a versatility thing. And because of this secondary, it requires a lot of coverage because they do a lot of bending, not breaking. That's what they do. Okay. Right. You may hear QAM and they may bring on some insider that was a former general manager, and he'll tell you that, Fangio's style is aggressive and after you and blitzing, and, some people don't do their homework, and they're supposedly they're NFL executives. But, so it depends on who you listen to because you have misinformation being spewed on a consistent basis. And Fangio is a cover type defense. So I think that's kind of what he's also doing. He's trying to see who's going to be the best. And we all knew that Brandon was getting better in coverage and he made progress last year, but he's going to have to be exceptional to be in this defense. So and then he's coming off an injury, which is so unfair to the young man. So that's going to be a hell of a challenge for Brandon Jones. I'm rooting for him, but I can see why Nick Needham and Trill Williams and guys like that are going to be put at safety because you have a glut at corner right now. So let's find out who else can play safety the same way you did with Bobby McCain a few years back when you needed some help at safety and you moved Bobby McCain over. So it may not be a permanent thing. It might be an emergency thing. It might be a fill-in thing. It might be a backup thing. I don't know yet. Okay. Or it may be nothing. They may just move Trill right back to corner and keep him there. So let's not get ahead of ourselves yet on that. I think it's just we're in the testing phases right now of the off season. When we get to training camp, if they're still doing it, then we can start to really, say, okay, here's the switch for Trill. He has made the move over to safety. But for now, Panthers play so well as a team. It's amazing. Everything flows great with them. Because they're really good, man. They're really good. Henry Rollins or Harry Styles. Both talents in their own way. It's just two completely different talents. Frankie, you disrespected NXT live event this weekend also. Carmelo Hayes versus Braun Breaker. Well, I already tell you, I'm going with Braun Breaker because Carmelo Hayes sounds too much like Carmelo Anthony. And so I don't know. Did you see Carmelo Anthony? Oh, I should have taken Dwayne Wade's advice and joined them, this and that. You're so full of shit, Carmelo Anthony. I saw that story about Carmelo Anthony, and I'm like, dude, you're a liar, bro. You've never wanted to win. You don't care about winning. For all these people and all this thing about Melo and, such a great player, this and that. Oh, God, he was a terrific shooter. I don't want that guy ever on my team. That guy was not about winning. He was about his money. The Denver and New York deal told you all. You don't need to wait years later for that. So wait a minute. I'm going to get traded to New York, but you're going to trade the entire team. So when I get there, I have nothing. But who cares? I got my money. Denver became the better team after that. And that's because that guy only gave a shit about money. And the same thing with the big three. He would have to take less to join. He wasn't going to sacrifice that. Bro, this is the idiot that screwed it up with Lala Anthony. Okay? Come on, man. Have you seen that woman? Because I follow that IG account. That's one of the best IG accounts to follow. Because that woman is constantly putting up some stunning pictures. And you're like, bro, you screwed that up? So Carmelo Anthony is a moron. And he's a liar on top of all of that. Winning was never a priority for Carmelo Anthony. Plenty of players have shown that they wanted to win, and they took less from Tom Brady to Tim Duncan to Dwayne Wade to all kinds of people have taken less to win, and they have shown it to us over and over and over and over again. At no point did Carmelo Anthony ever put winning in front of money. So don't tell me now, because you went through the Knicks mess because you allowed them to trade the entire team for you. Instead of waiting till the end of the season, become a free agent, just go to New York. But what happens? No bird rights, less money. Same old bullshit with Carmelo Anthony. He is a phony and a half, dude. I have zero
respect for Carmelo Anthony. He had his chance to prove that he cared about winning several times. And several times he proved that money was way more important to him than winning. And what these morons don't understand is you take less now, but if you have championships, you will then make more money over the next 40, 50 years because sponsors want to be associated with champions. That's the truth. That's when you keep making big time money as years goes on. Because Skechers will want Joe Montana forever. Because Joe Namath can do commercials till he's dead. Doesn't matter. As he gets older, he'll be doing commercials for his demo. But Joe Namath, running running into the locker room at the Orange Bowl, off the field, waving that finger. And that championship got him sponsorships for the rest of his life. Because you're always going to want to be associated with a winner, with a champion. Doesn't matter, bro. And doesn't matter how old you get. You'll still make money. But if you don't win the championships, well, guess what? You'll have less opportunities. So, yeah, get your money now. Or why don't you make money for a lifetime as a winner? Mellow, you loser. Anyway. How are the Heat minus 280 to win the series? I don't think the series is over, but that's ridiculously low. Well, you remember, the disbelief for the Heat is still there. Nothing has changed. You know, we didn't talk about this last night, but nothing has changed. No, it's hard to believe that we're in this position with the Heat. That's the real issue, because they played like crap all year long. They never played like this for a 14-game stretch where they went 11-3. They never did this throughout the season. So it's hard to believe that this is who they are. And so Vegas, this is why it's still hard to believe in the odds and everything else. And that's why the odds are always against them pretty much, until they kind of completely flipped it so much that then they started to favor them, but still not that much. So now that they lost to Boston, that doubt starts to creep in. So all of that was manifested leading up to this, now it comes back up. It comes to life again. Because in the end, it's still hard to believe that the Heat is one win away from the NBA Finals. Because a month ago against Atlanta, you're ready to blow this team up. And then somehow or another, miracle of all miracles, and they start playing like they had not played all season long. That's why. And if they lose this one tomorrow, oh man. Everybody's going to phrase it like they're about to lose the series. Oh, no, that's it. Boston's got all the confidence now. They're going to win the next two games because they are the better team. That's what they're going to say. I told you last night, the FUD is coming. FUD's here. But the reality is also here that people still have a hard time understanding how the Heat has played this well in the playoffs. And can you blame anybody for questioning that? No. Because it's a freakish thing what they've done. It's amazingly freakish. So is the market still hurting? Because I know that we had some rough waters here to start off the morning. Ooh, it's gotten even rougher. Okay. Like it. Where's Bitcoin at? It's right around 27. It's not that bad.
It's not that bad. It's not as bad as I thought it was going to be. Oh, no. Actually, it's down about 26.4, 26.5. So it is a little down. A couple $100. What do we got going on? Let me see. Great deal with VeChain. Great deal. Jasmine's a freaking awesome deal right now. Atom, my God. People, if you have not gotten any Ethereum, good time to load up. Bitcoin. I like it. I like it. Nice little dip. Let's see. I hate Green from the Get Up. He said Boston will be the first team to come back from a 3-0 series. That guy hates Miami teams. That, and he's kind of one of those trolls. Greeny's one of those guys that's, just a TV guy, bro. Unprepared and just says stuff to bait people and all that. It's just, that's kind of what they do. Shock stuff. But that's kind of what it's all about, man. I feel like Maiden is all talk, Big O. Don't flame me. Hunter, if you want, we can sign a release and then, just you and her. That's all. Let you into the backyard and try your best. You're more than welcome. Come Thursday over to Hialeah Park and you can follow me over and I'll get my lawyer to sign a release to make sure you can't sue me, and I'll throw you in the backyard so you can have fun with Maiden and play with her. Okay? So there you go. If you want to do it that way. No weapons. I'll have mine just in case you get out of line. I'll put your ass out. But no weapons. Just you and her. You guys can roll around in the artificial turf and have fun. Will, do you take blood off of the artificial turf? Because Maiden's going to draw a lot of Hunter Butler blood. I don't know if they do that at Cutter's Edge. Because Hunter Butler's about to get all cut up with the edges of talons. Big O, I never thought the Finns would give X his last extension. I was admittingly happy when they did. I heard you say at that time that was the time to trade him. Hell yeah. You would have gotten a load at that moment. But what happened? The flow situation. He effed up the first 2 years of Tua, couldn't build an offense. Front office is stuck in a bind. They need to find out about the quarterback. So they got to bring everybody back so they can make a run and bring somebody in that understands offense. In comes McDaniel. Tua has a fabulous year, and the rest is history. And X didn't have a good year. And so now you lost the value. Now you lost everything that you could have traded X for 2 years ago. But, that's how it goes. But I get it why they ended up keeping him, because you had to try to make a run here and see what you got in the quarterback, and now you know. So now you're preparing for post-X with Cam Smith. But what can I tell you? Just remember those Michael Jordan Hanes underwear commercials on the airplane for some reason. Big O, do not know you did not know you did a game recap after the game. I felt the ball movement. Well, you've got to hit the notification bell, my brother. All of you should hit the notification bell, because that will tell you when we go live or when a new segment is put up by Sean, or when Square Circle Digest goes live. And I'm going to start doing the crypto shows now again, because I'm trying to fix the studio for the crypto show. Actually, it's a little bit more complicated. I didn't like the way it was being presented, so I got to kind of change things up. So I'm working on that now. What else do we have here? Big O, Joe from Seville here, still watching you live at 4:50 p.m. Arbandale Elementary alum, nice. And Willie Paul's close friend woke up at 2 a.m. to only watch the Heat lose. Next game. Well, there you go. Good stuff. I spoke to Willie Paul a couple years ago. Spoke to his son, too. Also, I think I spoke to his son like about a year ago. And, yeah. Those were the days, man. Back in La Sabuesera, as they say. Someone should tell Hunter his tailor said he doesn't look good in dog. Yeah. You don't want to deal with that dog, bro. You know. Only way we keep X if he goes all pro again and Cam doesn't shine at all. Right. Yeah, that's a good one, Night. Not like, okay, the kid's not ready. He needs another year, and we need to hang on to X. But the problem is hanging on to X, and you got to pay Jalen Waddle and Jalen Phillips and Tua and Rob Hunt, and dude, I don't know. I don't even with that, I don't know. You know what I'm saying? I think that's a problem next year. There's a lot of salaries coming up. Remember, they didn't used to hit on their picks. So now they're hitting on picks. You're going to have to re-sign these people. It's a different ball. And they got a lot of people that they're going to have to re-sign. Javon Holland, Rob Hunt, Jalen Phillips, Jalen Waddle, Tua. I don't know what you're going to do with Brandon Jones. He's up next year. At the end of this year, he might be gone because of the numbers. Who else? I know I'm forgetting like one or two people here, but there's, besides Wilkins and Sealer also now that you've got to pay. I'm trying to think. I think there might be one more that I'm forgetting, but there's a lot of people. It's a lot of money you got to dish out next year. No, it's hard to keep X. Really, really hard. I mean, you'd have to be like, okay, he's the difference between us being a Super Bowl winner, contender, than not. Then I can kind of see that you got to kill yourself and try to sacrifice and, mortgage as much money of the future. That kind of stuff. Then I can kind of see it in a very, very desperate situation. Big O, do you think we win Game 5 or close it out in Game 6 in Miami? Magnus, I hope they close it out in Game 5. They need to. They need to in a big-time way. All right, let's get ready for hour number 2. Matt Verderam joins us. Let's go around the NFL. Hour number 2 of the Big O Radio Show.
Welton Rayom has more than 62 years of litigation experience handling insurance disputes. They're committed to resolving even the toughest insurance claims quickly. Call them for a free consultation. 954-966-4646. At Welton Rayom, they don't get paid unless you win. Property damage claims to your home, business, or condo as a result of a hurricane. Welton Rayom can help. Water, mold, fire, smoke damage, Welton Rayom can help. Call 954-966-4646.
If you're a Miami sports fan, then there's only one store to go to, and that's Caneswear at Miami Fanwear in Davie. They're your one-stop shop for all your inner Miami CFs, Canes, Dolphins, Panthers, and Marlins merchandise. They have hats, t-shirts, game day jerseys, and so much more. Located at 2511 South University Drive in Davie, and open 24/7 online at caneswear.com or innermiamiwear.com. Call them at 954-835-5597. Caneswear, the spot where Inner Miami and all Miami sports fans shop.
For over 16 years, EJDconstruction.com has provided South Florida residents quality craftsmanship, accurate project management, and exceptional service. That's why EJDconstruction.com is an A-rated member of Angie's List and the Better Business Bureau. When you're looking for the right custom home builder for additions or home remodeling, please call my friend Eric at 305-433-4843. That's 305-433-4843 for EJDconstruction.com.
opinions or beliefs expressed on the following program by the host, guests, or callers are not necessarily the opinions of FantasyAccess.com, Media Group Inc. ownership, management, sponsors, or website. When it comes to South Florida sports teams, very few in the media have witnessed, lived, and covered it like the Big O. Let's start the program dedicated to your favorite South Florida teams with a passion that's unmatched. The Big O Radio Show is on. Here's the Big O.
Hi, baby. There he is. How you doing, my man?
Good. How are you?
Excellent. Cannot complain. Just rocking and getting ready for a little interesting off season. We'll see. We'll see if the Dolphins can finally turn the corner. You watching any of the basketball or the hockey?
I have been. I haven't the last day and a half or so because I'm up in Green Bay and I'm working on a few different stories up here. But I certainly followed it. I know the Nuggets are finals bound, and the Heat couldn't finish off the Celtics last night, although I think they eventually will. The Panthers can't lose a game. I don't know how the Panthers continue to do this, but it's one hell of a run. I mean, they've won 3 games by 1 goal each, including 2 in overtime. And another game, they got outshot 2-1, and they won 1-0. But Bobrovsky, who was pretty washed up all year long, now is playing like God. So it's a fun thing to watch.
Yeah, I actually think the Panthers are more real than the Heat. I think the Heat have done a marvelous job of overachieving, and they've got, I think, maybe the best coach in the NBA in Eric Spoelstra. Yeah. But I think the Panthers are actually for real, and they just kind of they weren't healthy most of the year. They got healthy towards the end. You had a new coach, an entire new system, because they went from that open style scoring 4 billion goals and all that to more of a grinded out style and more physical, which is more suited for playoff hockey. And I just think like, I had some fun. I said, who's the best third wheel, Carter Verhaeghe or Tyler Hero? And, it's like, and I could tell people don't follow hockey nearly as much, but Verhaeghe's a 40-goal scorer. And he was the guy that showed up last year in the playoffs, not Barkov or Huberdeau. It was him, actually. And again, this year, 40-goal scorer, big goals and big moments, that kind of stuff. And that's what I think. The Sam Bennett's of the world, the Reinhardts. I just think around Tkachuk and Barkov, I just think they're more talented. They actually have more players they're actually really, really good. Then I like the undrafted kids that we have, but again, I just don't think they're kind of the guys that we're talking about with the Panthers. So I kind of feel the Panther run is more legit. And you follow hockey. If your goaltender's hot, dude,
they can win.
Oh my God, it changes everything.
It's I mean, look, there's a few things right now in Florida. One is Tkachuk is the best player in the playoffs this year. I mean, McDavid was before they went out, but look, McDavid is like today's Gretzky. But Tkachuk's been the best player to this point in the playoffs. Bobrovsky's been better than anybody could have imagined, and
he's back. He's back to Columbus, Bob.
Yeah, he is right now. And then the other part of this is, people forget that last year the Panthers were the top seed in the East. I mean, they were a really, really good team. That just this year, as you mentioned, look, there's a lot of change. I mean, they made a trade in the offseason with Tkachuk that a lot of people thought was nuts when they did it. I mean, a lot of people are like, they're trading away 2 big pieces for one. Well, it's worked out. Calgary couldn't even make the playoffs. And, Florida here we sit.
Last year I said you have to trade Huberdeau.
Well,
last year towards the end of the season, I said this team cannot be led by 2 guys that don't have any personality, that don't have any fire. Because Barkov, God bless him, he's a hell of a player, but he's not getting in anybody's face. He's not rattling anybody's cage. He's not going to intimidate anybody. He's not going to instigate anything. And Hubie's the same way. And to me, yeah, and in hockey, I'm sorry, you gotta have some fire. And when they got Tkachuk, that's when I went crazy. I was like, okay,
it's interesting. I will say this. I think it's sports can turn on such a little pivot. And the Panthers were down 3-1 in Boston in Game 5 in overtime, and nobody thought they were going to win that game. They win it. They go to Game 6. That game's wild. There's back and forth. They're down in the third period. They come back to win that game. And then in Game 7, they're down a goal with under a minute to go in the game, and they tie the game and obviously ultimately win it. They've been an amazing story. And personally, I will add this. I know there's been a lot of talk over the last couple, week and a half in hockey circles about, well, geez, the conference finals, it's these 4 warm weather teams, and there's no blue bloods, and is it bad for the sport? And frankly, I don't like to curse, but that's the biggest crock of shit on the face of the earth. Right. People who are fans in Toronto and Boston are not going anywhere. They're going to be fans of the team. You need to grow the game in places like South Florida, where the Panthers historically have had a hard time drawing. As someone who loves
they've been a bad franchise. Now they're
right. I mean, they've not been competitive for most of their history. And you know what? As someone who loves the sport, who's grown up on the sport, I love turning on Game 3 and seeing that place packed. I mean, that's how you build fan bases. You win. Vegas has been one of the most successful expansion franchises in the history of pro sports. Like, they will build a fan base because it's fun, it's exciting, it's a happening. And if the Panthers continue to win, kids who are watching right now will become fans. And younger people who can start to afford it will buy season tickets. That's how you build fan base. I don't care that Toronto's not in the Eastern Conference Final. That team could go 0-82 next year and sell out every game. I don't care. You need to grow the game with these other fan bases, and it's been really fun to watch.
And by the way, all the blue bloods have made it in the past. Did it make the sport that much better or anything? No, it hasn't done anything.
The whole sport, not just the top 6 markets.
Yeah. And by the way, just in case anybody listening out there, you're a Vegas fan, you have tickets. If you have an extra one, you want to invite me, I'll fly over for one of the Panthers Knights games, okay? Just in case. So if there's any offers out there for a ticket, I will fly out there and join you for a game. Have some fun. I am dying to go to a Vegas game because the presentation for the opening of the game.
It's a party.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. That thing must be a really good thing. All right, let's go around the NFL a little bit here. Were there tremors in New York after the calf injury for Aaron Rodgers? And you almost have to say, oh shit, 39 years old. Maybe this is why he also did not go to the OTAs. Like, does the old man really need to be there? Like yesterday, you got OTAs with the Dolphins and Teron Armstead's hanging out. Like, what do you need him out there for in OTAs? You know what I'm saying? But and I get it, new team, new players, all that kind of stuff. But some seismic readings out there after a calf injury for the 39-year-old.
I mean, look, I think he should have been at the OTA, and I think he should be participating. And sometimes it's just bad luck, and these things happen. I always am concerned. I mean, look, he's had significant calf injuries before, so whenever something like that happens, you'll look at it and say, okay, is it a little thing? You're always going to get the team that says, it's nothing. He'll be back, right away. Okay, well, that's fine. But does he have another calf injury at mandatory minicamp? Is this something that lingers? I mean, when you're 39, it takes longer to recover, and you're more likely to get re-injured. And if you're the Jets, and I've said this here, I've said this a bunch of places, I've written this a bunch of places. If you're the Jets, this is your year. It has to be. This is not a 5-year trade. This is not a 3-year trade.
You don't have time for that.
This may not be a 2-year trade. Like, you need to win now, right now. And so the concern is, listen, do I think that this specific injury is going to hurt him long term? No. But if it becomes a recurring problem, will he play on it? Yeah. Will it impact him? Yeah. And that's where you just worry. He was not healthy a lot of those final years in Green Bay. A lot of those years he played, but he always had something going on, right? Last year, if memory serves, he had a thumb injury. There was a rib injury during the middle of the season that I think he sustained in Philadelphia. Like, those are the concerns you have, because if you're the Jets, Rodgers just playing 17 games isn't enough. He's got to be the Rodgers he was a couple of years ago. Like, playing 17 games is fine and well, but if he plays 17 games like he played last year, who cares? You're not even making the playoffs. You need him to be, if not the MVP candidate, close. A guy who's throwing for 4,500 yards and 32 touchdowns, and being last year's Rodgers, who didn't throw one time for 300 yards. Yeah, that's not going to cut it. That's not good enough. And so, yeah, anytime there's a little injury here that you always are concerned about, a guy who's 39 with a history of it.
By the way, I just saw this on neuroscientists and neurosurgeons have reestablished communication between the brain and spinal cord, allowing a paralyzed person to walk again.
That'd be unbelievable. That'd be amazing.
Holy shit. That's Sky News reporting that. That is wow. I'm gonna
life changing.
retweet it, by the way, if you guys want to read that. But that is wow. I got to read that when we get a break on that one. That got my attention there. All right, so let's move over to the running backs, dude. Where are we headed with this position? Because Austin Eckler, like you're a running back and you're just the league's bitch, basically. Unless you're this Derrick Henry type that maybe, you're so freakish that, and there's only one or two every 10 or 20 years or whatever, that, okay, they're dying to re-sign you. But nowadays, running backs are one contract players more often than not. You're not even drafting them in the first round. I mean, maybe if you can avoid the second round too, because again, they're one contract players. And you're like, yo, dude, I'd rather get this tackle or this corner or this linebacker where I know I can get a second year out of them, where this guy, I may wear him out and I don't need him. So the guys have to know this. Agents have to know this. Parents have to know this. Kids are going to know about this, the way things are being treated. So Eckler has to kill himself just to get $2 million in incentives, which, sure, he's going to be a free agent, it says, next year at 27 or 28. But what if you blow out your knee now, bro? And you're talking about a contact sport. Plus, nobody really gives big money to running backs.
Right.
Saquon Barkley turning down a deal that could go up to $14 million per year, which for an injury-prone running back like him, I would have taken that deal in a heartbeat, knowing now maybe this whole thing with the quarterback and the tag and all that pissed him off to the point that he doesn't want to be there anymore, because that's kind of what you're saying by turning down that contract. Like, yeah, thanks, but no thanks. I don't want to be with you guys anymore. Whatever. I don't know. But where are we headed with running backs? Because it's a dynamic that the human being has to see, that you're not valued
right
like are in other positions in the league. They value a corner more and a quarterback and a tackle and a middle linebacker and whatever, but the running back, where are we headed with this position? Because everything is altered. How you draft them, how you think about them long term, what you pay them, how you use them. You and I, a lot of us grew up with bell cows.
Yeah.
That shit don't exist anymore, bro.
It does.
You know what I mean? Where are we headed with the running back?
I think if I'm a college running back with the hope of being drafted, I am learning how to catch the ball and I am learning how to run routes. Because to me, I think you have to be that guy to have any chance of being a 2 or 3 contract running back. I mean, you've got to almost be a receiver, right? I mean, look at who's getting paid. You mentioned Henry, because Henry is the dying dinosaur, who's a big
and by the way, he's having trouble for his third contract now. Even the freak that he is, there's some trepidation about, dude, this guy's got the odometer's gone around a time or two here. Are we ready to give him that? So even a freak is having trouble for his third contract.
If you look around the league, I mean, Christian McCaffrey is a perfect example of, like, he's a do-it-all. I mean, he can catch the ball. And that he got 2 big contracts beyond his rookie year. I mean, the Carolina traded him because they were rebuilding, but Carolina gave him a big deal, right? And now, actually, I should say he's playing that out. So he's on his second deal. And if he continues to play like this, he'll get a third deal. I think another example is actually, ironically, Eckler, who is on his second contract right now. But you're right. I guess having a hard time getting a third one. But I think if he goes out and has 90 receptions this year, he'll get one somewhere. Now, will he get one with the Chargers? Maybe not because they're in a cap crunch, but he'll get one somewhere.
By the way, his second contract wasn't like this franchise-altering thing.
No, it was good, but it wasn't. It wasn't like
off his first contract, so they gave him a little bit extra. You know, it wasn't like anything. Yeah,
but I think to have a chance to get paid a massive amount of money, you have to be able to play in the slot, play outside, catch the ball. I mean, otherwise teams don't run the ball enough. They just don't. I mean, most teams, like and Tennessee's perfect example, team does run the ball a lot. It's the way they like to play. But like most teams, I'll give you an example. The Chiefs just won the Super Bowl with Isaiah Pacheco. Okay, Isaiah Pacheco is probably not getting a second contract in Kansas City when the time comes. Probably just not getting it. He's a 7th-round pick out of Rutgers, who the Chiefs are going to look at and go, that's great. We're going to get, we'll get 4 years out of him. Maybe you tag him, right? If he becomes like an all-pro level player, maybe you tag him. And then
because it's not a crippling number. The tag is no longer a crippling number.
You can pay that. The Eagles, who were in the Super Bowl, just got an incredible year out of Miles Sanders, who also was very good the year prior. He went to Carolina. Gone, see you. Doesn't matter, right? Because when you rank the players in Philadelphia's offense, who's most important? Well, it's going to start with Hurts because he's quarterback. Then you're going to go to the 2 receivers. Then you're going to probably, before Sanders, go to every single one of those offensive linemen, right? He's like 9th, and you could argue he's less important than Goddard.
He's behind corners, bro.
I'm just talking the offense. I'm just talking just on the offense. He's like 9th. When you look at Kansas City, as good as Pacheco is, he's not as important as any one of those linemen. He's not as important as Mahomes. He's not as important as Kelsey. I mean, you could, and look, after that, you could make the argument, so maybe he's 8th. But, like, that's where you sit. Like, if he gets hurt, they'll plug Jerick McKinnon in. And Jerick McKinnon had 10 touchdowns last year. Like, it's fine. And that's where, I mean, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, who the Chiefs took as a luxury pick in the first round, he can't even get on the field. They don't care. Like, they declined his option. He'll be gone after next year, and they'll move on. They won't care.
They won't be drafting a lot of running backs from here on out in the first round. That's going to end too for the Chiefs too, because
I was surprised, honestly.
And by the way, I love your point on learn to catch.
You have to.
It's equivalent to, you play power forward, you play center. Learn to shoot the 3, dude.
Step out and shoot. I think the other thing too, you got to add, or I have to add. You better learn how to block for your quarterback, because if you can't block, you're not playing. In today's game, if you can't block for the quarterback, you're coming off the field at least on 3rd down and probably on 2nd in a lot of situations. Like, you're not going to be on the field. So
that's that has become even more uncomfortable than ever. If you can't block, you may not make teams anymore because it's too pass happy. The league is way too pass happy. If we're in the 90s and we're still playing 3 yards in a cloud of dust,
you're a fullback.
You can get away with that. But
your fullback will block. Your fullback. I mean, you're back in the 90s. I mean, look, the best team in the 90s was Dallas. Dallas played with Darryl Johnson on the field almost every snap. Like, he was going to block, right? That was his job. That guy doesn't exist. I mean, how many teams carry a true fullback? Like, that really sees the field. I mean, it sees the field more than 3 snaps in a game, right? Almost nobody. I mean, the Niners do with Juszczyk.
We're one of the few. We're one of the few, along with the Niners.
And what is the line there, right? It's McDaniel.
Right.
I mean, it's rare. Most teams, 25 teams, they don't play a fullback. And so now, if you're the running back, you better be able to catch, and you better be able to run some routes, and you better be able to block. And if you're not that guy, and you come in and you can't really run routes, and your hands aren't that good, and you can't block, I don't care if you run a 4.140, you're not playing. You are not getting on the field more than a handful of snaps in the game. So I think that's where this position is headed. And and look, we see this. The tight end in the last 20 years has evolved. When I was a kid, other than a few guys, you blocked. That's what you did. You stood on the line. You were a 6th offensive lineman, and on 3rd down every once in a while, you'd run a square out and try to catch a 5-yard pass. Now, if you can't catch the ball and make a move downfield, you're not going to play. You're going to come in as a 2nd or 3rd guy to block, right? And so positions evolve. That's the way it is.
Yeah, the Novaceks and those kind of guys were rare. There weren't a ton of those. Now it's common. Now it's a normal thing.
Have to be that guy.
DeAndre Hopkins, he's not attending OTAs. Where does he end up? Who signs him? Or who trades for him? I'm sorry.
Well, no, I think the first question might be the more pertinent one. Look, I think at some point here, the Cardinals have to make a decision. Okay. So right now, he's almost due $30 million against the cap for Arizona. To pay him that is insane. I mean, there is just no justification for it. Arizona's lucky if it wins 4 games this year. So if you're the Cardinals, you, in my eyes, have 2 options because keeping him on that number is just it's a non-starter.
No, you got to trade him. You got to trade him. You can't cut him, but you got to trade him. So
here are the 2 options. So once you get to June 1st, okay, then all the numbers change because it's all the post-June 1 stuff. So if I'm pulling up his contract right now, because I want to be able to give you guys a full honest answer. So his cap hit right now is 29.98. Okay. Now, if they were to just post-June 1, just flat release him, they eat $10.5 million this year and next year, but they save 19.4 this year and 14.9 next year. Now,
and they're cheap, by the way. The Bidwells have always been cheap. But go ahead.
One of the cheapest. So here's my takeaway on this. If you trade for him, okay, you're not paying that 29.98 number. You're paying his base, which is 19.4. The next year, should you keep him, it's 14.9, but there's no guaranteed money next year. So it's essentially a team option at 14.9. Teams have told the Cardinals at this point, we're not paying that contract. It's not going to happen. So if you're the Cardinals, this is very similar to Baker Mayfield's situation last year. If you're the Cardinals, how much money are you willing to eat to get rid of him? How much? Now, the answer is not going to be more than $10 million because at that point you just cut him and you'd save the money. Okay.
Yeah, but you got to almost do Cleveland now. What's the name of the baseball guy? Barry, something Barry, or what was the name of that guy that you traded the Osweiler for? We'll take on the Osweiler.
Yeah, Andrew Barry.
Yeah, Andrew Barry. So I almost think like you're not going anywhere anyway.
I agree.
He's a commodity, and he's a guy that if certain offenses think, okay, we're close to Super Bowl, we need a franchise type guy. Let's go get that guy. I think I know they're notoriously cheap, as I mentioned, but if you're not going anywhere, you have the cap space. My Lord, you print money like it's going. You print more money than the Federal Reserve in the NFL.
I'm with you.
I think you have to actually take the Cleveland route and be willing to swallow money so you can then absorb as many picks as possible.
I agree. To me, that's the answer forward. Is that that's what they should do? Is what Arizona should do? Say, look, we'll eat some of the contract, and the more we eat, the better the pick. Now, I don't think they're getting anything like. I think their ceiling would be probably like a mid-round pick, right? Like a 4th-round pick or something. But if you're Arizona, you need that 4th-round pick. You need whatever you can get. Maybe, so maybe you can get a 7th or a 4th and a 7th or something. Okay, fine. I mean, it's better than what you've got. And you still save money against the cap. And you can roll that cap relief over into the following years, and that opens up some space for you. I think for Arizona, you have to move him. Now, if he gets moved, which, again, I believe he will, I still look at – now, Buffalo at this point, Buffalo said that they're out. They're not involved anymore. I still think the Giants make a ton of sense.
In the offseason, by the way, Bean kind of warned everybody about the fiscal issues.
They weren't going to do that yet.
Yeah, they kind of warned everybody. It's kind of like they kind of told you that, hey, bro, we're not going to have the kind of wallet and checkbook that you guys think we're going to have here because when you actually hit on picks, you have to re-sign them, dude.
Yes. Well, I mean, hell, he was very open about the fact that the combine. He's like, the next 2 years, we're not signing guys. I mean, it's just not going to happen. They're not going to make big moves. So they're out at least what they say on Hopkins. Now, where could he go? I always, when you're talking about stars, look at the Cowboys and I'm like, okay, but they got cooked, so I don't think they make sense. They don't make sense.
Ravens are the ones.
The Ravens got their guys. The Giants make sense to me.
Oh, well, they drafted one too. That's right.
Yeah. The Giants to me make sense. The Giants make sense. Kansas City makes sense. Like now they took Rice in the 2nd round. Let me say this. I do not think the Chiefs will go get Hopkins. I don't. But their number 1 receiver right now is Kadarius Toney or Marquez Valdes-Scantling. Now, of course, they have Kelsey, so like he's really your number one receiver. But
it seems to me like they have big plans for Toney this year.
They have huge
like
plans.
They're hoping he's. Yeah, I think they're hoping
he
takes that next step finally.
Yeah, and that's why I don't think they'll do it, because they do have. I mean, look, in the end, they love Toney. MVS is a quality receiver. They have Kelsey, and then they drafted 2 guys in the second round each of the last 2 years. So I think they're probably set. If the Raiders cut Renfro, like they've got a need. I mean, they have who else is playing receiver for them other than Devontae Adams? So I know they brought in Jacoby Myers. Like I get it, but Jacoby Myers is not DeAndre Hopkins. So the Raiders are interesting, and they've been thrown around a little bit. In the end, I do think at some point here, if you're the Cardinals, you got to just trade the team that gives you the best offer. You don't care if they're even in division, right? I mean, who cares?
Right.
You just got to get the best offer. I think they will move him, and I think they're going to end up just eating some of this contract. They're going to have to, because nobody's trading for him on 19.4. It's just not going to happen.
My boy Jay Skursky, who covers the Buffalo Bills for many years for the Buffalo News. Do you know Jay?
I know who he is. I don't know him personally, but I know who he is.
Okay. So he wrote he wrote something, and I found it very interesting because it kind of made a lot of sense on Leslie Frazier, taking a sabbatical. And if Leslie Frazier wants to become a head coach at his age, taking a sabbatical for a year off is kind of odd. He goes, it's hard to see how stepping away from the game for a year would benefit Frazier in his quest to become a head coach. With that in mind, it feels as if Frazier's decision to do so maybe wasn't his idea in the first place. That's just speculation on my part, because Frazier has curiously not offered up his side of the story. Perhaps one day that will change. But until it does, all we can do is speculate. And it did with the announcement was made that it still feels to me as if Frazier has coached his last game with the Bills. Your thoughts on that? Because that is kind of the defense did kind of underachieve last year. Okay. Yeah. So, but it's kind of strange. Yeah. If Leslie really wants to be a head coach, taking a year off at this stage of his career, that's really weird. You know what I'm saying? Now, if he's having health issues, nobody knows. But what do you think about that? Because that is kind of interesting what Jay brings up.
Well, you hear, I mean, look, you always have to be careful with this kind of stuff, because you hear a lot of things. And my 2 cents on it is, I don't know if it's health related. If it is, and that's a private matter, and fair enough. But I think it's hard to take a year off and then he's just going to come back and step right in. I mean, he's not going to be a head coaching candidate after this year. He's not a coach anywhere right now. And I think if you're the Bills, like, you've now moved on, with a year without that coach, or you're just going to turn it right back over. Now, you could, in the sense that McDermott's basically going to run the defense this year. Now, and if McDermott's running the defense, I don't know that it's going to be that much different schematically than what Leslie Frazier's been doing. I mean, obviously, McDermott's the one who hired him. So I think they probably stay pretty similar. I'll tell you, I just think for the Bills, this is a weird year for the Bills. I really do feel that way. And that's not to say I don't think they'll be good. I think they'll be very good. But I think last year was such an opportunity for them. And let's call it what it is. I mean, they fell on their face in the playoffs. There is no other way to put it.
Yeah.
And now you come into this season, your roster, unless your rookies are phenomenal, is not as good as it was a year ago. It's just not. I'm sorry. You're older in certain spots. Edmonds is gone. You didn't replace him with anybody. Von Miller's coming off a torn ACL. There is, other than just you love Dalton Kincaid, there is no argument that this roster is better than a year ago. Okay? So now you look at it. Miami's better. New York is much better with a real quarterback. The Bills have the hardest schedule, I believe, in football. Like, this is going to be a challenge. And you look around the AFC and Cincinnati. I mean, look, they lost their safeties. They replaced them to a degree, but like, in my eyes, they didn't get any worse. I mean, Kansas City didn't get any worse. I mean, these teams like, Jacksonville is on the come up, right? I mean, they're only going to get better, one would think. So I look at the Bills and I just think McDermott's now the head coach and he's essentially the defensive coordinator. How's that going to work? I mean, the Bills have had their issues in late game moments over the years at times where they've mismanaged clocks, they've mismanaged late game situations. And now You have a head coach who's also the defensive coordinator. I think they're still good, but I think there are real questions about the Bills. I think there are questions about the Bills that didn't exist the last couple of years. And I think there are really questions about the Bills, and you compare them to the other elite teams in the AFC that either are getting better or that, like Cincinnati and Kansas City, I think pretty much stayed at the same level, but are teams that have won. I mean, Kansas City's won 2 Super Bowls. The Bengals have been to a Super Bowl. They've been to 2 AFC title games the last 2 years. They waxed Buffalo when they played them. The Bills have questions to answer, a lot of them, and I don't think that the McDermott coaching the defense should be overlooked.
So it also makes the head coach's job a lot harder if he has to also worry about one side of the ball. All right, Dougie Fresh, who's a fan of yours, by the way, he says, I'm a huge fan of his, but he's got a question for you. He says, you gave the Finns draft a D+, tied for worst in the league. What would you need to happen this year for you to retract that evaluation?
A couple of the guys to come out and play significant snaps and be productive. I mean, I think of all the picks, I mean, the one that would jump out at you would be, the running back, right? I mean, he'd be the guy you look at and say, okay, maybe he comes in, he's really a player. But like we talked about on the show, I mean, really the grade was just based off the fact they had 4 picks. I mean, they had 4 picks. They were later on. I mean, it's just so hard to draft an impact class when you're not picking until, basically everybody else has gone 2 or 3 times. I mean, it's a hard thing. It's kind of like the inverse. Like if Houston doesn't get an A or an A-, then it's a colossal failure, right? I mean, you're drafting that high. Like, you better get a really good grade because we're basing this off of what we think these players are going to be. And of course, I think Stroud's going to be a good quarterback. And I think Will Anderson's going to be a great edge rusher. Doesn't mean they're going to be. Maybe both of them are total bust, but that's what you're grading this off of. Yeah. It's hard to draft in the top 5 or 10 picks if you have all your picks and get a really crappy grade. It happens occasionally, but it's hard. It's also really hard to draft, 75th overall as your first pick, and you end up getting, a high grade. And as we talked about, it all depends how you look at it too. The Dolphins used a lot of those high picks on players. If you're asking me if I think it made them a lot better, yeah. That's why, by the way, in their offseason report card, which we did for the whole, I did the whole AFC, but I did specifically for the AFC East. I think the Dolphins like an A-. Like they had the highest grade of anybody in the division because I think overall they had a great offseason. It's just that when you draft so late, you have only 4 picks. It's just really hard to draft like major impact players.
And you guys aren't really using all the picks, what they did with them. And that's
just the picks they used in the draft itself.
Right, exactly. Which is, and by the way, let me take a guess here. This is like every other site. This is kind of editor driven anyways. It's not really what a writer wants to do because most of us that follow this, we know we really can't grade this stuff till 2 or 3 years down the line. So not that you want to throw any of your editors under the bus, but I've been in that world and they all want a mock draft and then they all want grades.
I think my mock draft had
guaranteed to fail.
I think my mock draft, I think I had 3 picks correct.
Yeah.
Listen,
guaranteed to fail, bro.
I just put out today. I just put out my top 25 prospects for the draft next year, and it's online. It's on SI. I've tweeted it out. You can check it out. And I had fun doing it. But I talked to a lot of people who were around college football as I was kind of putting together this list, and I got the same answer. Like, look, the top 10 guys, 11 guys, whatever. Like, they're as long as they're healthy, they're no doubters. The rest of these guys, they could absolutely be top 25 picks. They could also fall to 100. I mean, it's just reality. And I think sometimes like people just expect that you're always right with this. And it's like, it's football. Some guy might break out this year because he's in a new scheme and he transferred, or some guy put on 15 pounds of muscle, or some guy put on 15 pounds of fat. He's going to stink this year because you can't run. Like, it's just, but the fun of it is, to me, like with this list, the top 25 prospects, it's a good idea to just, hey, familiarize yourself with these names. Know who these guys are. They could be first-round picks next year. And, yeah, there are guys at the top of the list like Marvin Harrison Jr. and Drake May and Caleb Williams who, like, they're going to be top-tier picks going to disaster. But then there's a guy, like, I'll give an example, like Michael Penix Jr. out of Washington, who's quarterback. He was really just completely nondescript until last year. He had a great year for the Huskies. Like, if he does it again, maybe he's a first-round pick. If he regresses, he might be some guys in the middle rounds. I don't know. But he's somebody to get to know. He's somebody to watch, right? And so that's kind of the idea of the whole thing.
Dude, mock drafts and grades for drafts are guaranteed failures. It's just the way it is. It just
Yes, they are.
you have full
They are.
control. Yeah, the guy could be drafted on the wrong team for the wrong scheme,
Could
and
get
then he
hurt.
finds the right scheme 4 years later after his deal's up, and the entire city's calling him a bum, and then he goes somewhere else and he shines forever. You know, like okay, I thought Drew Brees, great pick for the Chargers. Well, no, it sucked actually. It was actually a fantastic pickup for the New Orleans Saints.
Yeah.
Because that's where he found, that's where Stella found her groove, in New Orleans, not in San Diego. It's
happens
it's set up for failure. It's not even funny, dude. And like in the draft, like a mock draft, are you supposed to think like 32 people in that one at that moment in time? Come on, bro. It's impossible, man. It's crazy. All right, what do you got going on SI so folks can check you out?
All right. Well, I'm up in Green Bay right now. I was at OTAs yesterday. I had a sit down with Jordan Love, which was fun. He was an engaging, bright guy, and so that'll be a piece that's in the works. That won't come out tomorrow or anything, but I'm working on that. I'll tell you what. I spent a lot of time walking around Green Bay and talking to Packers fans and asking them how they felt about everything that's gone on with Aaron Rodgers. I think the answer is going to surprise a lot of people. It surprised me, frankly.
There was time to move on, huh? Time to move on.
A lot of people are not happy he's gone. I was surprised.
Really?
I was surprised. I was very surprised. And I'm writing that. Hell, I spent all night. I didn't go to dinner last night. I spent all night writing it. I'm actually getting there on that piece. So got those coming out. I've got the
unknown scares the shit out of people, dude.
Oh, and
the unknown. You don't know what Jordan Love's going to be. You don't know what Aaron Rodgers is going to be. So when you're pushing Brett Favre out the effing door, and even if he's telling you for 3 years that he tells you, I don't know if I'm playing or this, that, he leaves you in the lurch, it's still Brett freaking Favre.
That's
right. This Aaron Rodgers guy, well, he's sat there for 4 years, done nothing. How do we know if he's going to be the guy? And then now it's the same thing as Jordan Love. You know what I mean? It's like, yesterday I didn't do the show. I had a colonoscopy. For 24 hours before you do the colonoscopy, even though all blood tests, everything went fine. And by the way, everything went fine. But leading up to that test, the unknown. Do you not think that in my mind and in everybody else's mind that is about to take a colonoscopy, the worst shit in your mind is going through there every single time because of the unknown? The unknown scares the hell out of us. I could have said shit because it would have been apropos. But anyway, the unknown scares the hell out of us. Okay. And the colonoscopy, the same thing here. And that's what I think you got from Green Bay fans. They don't know. They know what walks out the door. They don't know what's coming in.
It was very interesting. It was a lot of fun being up here. Right after I get done with this, I'm headed out. But it was fun. But yeah, I've got the top 25 prospects out today. I will next week. We're starting a ranking series where I'm going to list the top 10 quarterbacks. I've got the top 10 receivers, top 10 O-linemen. I can tell you right now, the Dolphins are going to populate the receivers list, and might populate quarterback list. Top 10. I mean,
yeah, baby.
So
yeah.
We're gonna have some fun.
By the way, can Green Bay handle the NFL draft, dude?
You know what? I will tell you this.
500,000 people going to do there, bro.
I think that Green Bay is going to get creative with it. I actually do. But I think it's going to have to be a celebration of like this area, not just Green Bay. Because Green Bay's got about 100,000 people in it. And the hotel, I mean, look, you're going to need Oshkosh to be involved and Appleton to be involved. And let me tell you this. If you are considering coming up here for the draft, I will tell everybody right now, there's a place about 90 minutes away from Green Bay, I think east of Green Bay, Door County. It is on the peninsula. It is gorgeous. You want to come up here and spend like a weekend with your wife? I do it every year. I go up there every year with my wife. You can't. I mean, it is beautiful. And there's so much to do. Oh my God, it's a hidden gem. So if you're thinking about it, you're like, I can bring, maybe make a weekend of it, bring my wife. That's where to go. That is an awesome place, and it's literally from Green Bay. It's like 90 minutes.
Okay. All right.
Door County, Wisconsin. Shameless plug that I get nothing out of, but that's okay.
That's all right. That's our lives. We get nothing out of it. Follow him on Twitter at Matt Verderam and catch him every week here doing this thing. Matt, as always, thank you, my brother. Appreciate you immensely.
Hey, glad everything went well yesterday. Take care, everybody.
Tell me about it. Be good, my brother. There you go. Sports Grill, baby. Yes, sir. Hey, tonight we got the hockey game going on. Come on, man. Panthers looking to seal it up. Great place to go is at Sports Grill. They've got all kinds of things going on. Today's Wednesday. Kids eat free with the purchase of an adult entree. You can take the hot sauces home, like the buffalo sauce, the Miami Heat, the blackberry, the barbecue, the Dale. The Doral store is in. It is absolutely awesome. Check it out. Sports Grill, baby. Go watch the Heat game. Go watch the Panthers game. Enjoy the food. Enjoy the friends, the family at sportsgrill.com. All right. What do we got going on here on the chat board? Don't forget, folks, to smash the hell out of the like button. Very important. You smash the like button. Oh, By the way, I will watch my film at Actual Scouts do the same film these dudes watch every day. I'm sorry, I use more than stats to evaluate talent. All right, Knight. Basketball Jones says Cam Smith has star potential, and we've got all the DB mentors to ensure it happens. Dougie Fresh, but shouldn't a team be graded on the decisions they made, not with the decisions that was made? No, I think on the draft, I don't think you should be only charged or charged. You should only judge by what you drafted only. It's what you did with all the picks. That's why, to me, what they made use of for those 8 picks was awesome. They maximized that draft because everything doesn't have to be draft picks. Hope the O-line is looking good. Well, we'll find out in training camp. Right now, you're not going to find anything out. Nick Hicks is very confident we land Dalvin. LOL. If Minnesota cuts him, I'm sure he'll be here, but that doesn't seem likely at this point. They just gave Jeff Wilson a 2-year contract. They drafted A-Chain. They re-signed Mostert. They re-signed Wilson for multiple years. I told you guys that Cook was not coming here. The only way Cook comes here is if he gets cut and he takes a significant amount of money, like a significant pay cut. The $10 million he's making, like 3.5, 4, something like that. A really cheap contract, and then they'll do it. And he's not going to do that. He's going to want to try to go somewhere where he can get a lot of playing time and get back as close to $10 million per year. I'm just being honest here, but whatever. And most of you were already wrong. I told you they weren't going to trade for him. And, like Nelson, who's on this chat board all the time, he was adamant about them trading for him and he'll be here and on. Nope. No trade. There'll be no trade. They're not picking up any salary. I told them over and over again. But I don't know. There's somebody out there that, tells you things that happens with the Dolphins, and they seem to happen a lot of times. I wonder. I just wonder, It's really only one person in town that does that all the damn time. I wonder who it is. Anyway. Yeah, the Dalvin Cook talk hurts my... Yeah, it's so tiring already at this point. Oh, will you be seeing Duran live in Tampa next month? You know what? Well, next month I'll be going to Atlanta to go see The Cure. When is Duran? I don't know exactly. I need the dates. What are the dates? And I gotta look them up. Are they coming here to South Florida? Is the question. I don't know yet. I gotta look that up. Speaking of music, by the way, there is a Guns N' Roses documentary. So those of you that love GNR, and I know if NorCal is watching, he is GNR's, I think, number one fan, I want to say. But Reels TV, which I love Reels, they do all these documentaries. They announced a new special, Guns N' Roses, America's Most Dangerous Band, will premiere Sunday, June 18th at 9 p.m. Eastern. It's in a world of hard rock, standing out means having a brand. But for one hugely successful group, they are a brand. Guns N' Roses exploded onto the scene and quickly became a nefarious reputation with gritty and raw performances. With more than 100 million records sold and fans all over the world, Guns N' Roses is one of the biggest acts in music history. Multiple American Music Awards, acclaimed as the world's best group by the World Music Awards, and inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Guns N' Roses has done it all, but the stats and accolades don't tell the whole story. The band's bad behavior, including drug use, public feuds, and onstage meltdowns, earned them an unsavory reputation among promoters, but the unpredictable nature of their live shows also became a part of their allure. The chaos culminates in frontman Axl Rose's launching himself at a photographer in the crowd during a show, then storming off stage, ending the show early. Despite a legacy of disorder and even band breakups over the years, Guns N' Roses reunites and continues to sell out arenas worldwide, and even stadiums, by the way. Helping to tell you the story of Guns N' Roses is Sirius XM radio personality Eddie Trunk. Who else, baby? Along with the Metal Voice contributor Perrin Wolfson and Stephen Davis, author Watch You Bleed, the saga of Guns N' Roses, America's Most Dangerous Band, is produced by AMS Pictures. So for those of you Guns N' Roses fan, including, of course, NorCal, who just loves Guns N' Roses, June 18th, you'll get to see it. I know I will be watching. Okay? Now, today is May 24th. Today in rock history, on May 24th in 1970, Peter Green quit Fleetwood Mac. The fame and fortune that came with the band's success and the time he invested in it led to Peter's mental decline and his decision to leave. In 88, on this date, Van Halen's album OU 812 was released. In 2010, Slipknot bassist Paul Gray was found dead in a hotel in Des Moines. At the age of 38, he had overdosed on painkillers. In 74, on this date, David Bowie put out his 8th studio album, Diamond Dogs. In 2005, Ozzy and Sharon Osbourne put their Beverly Hills house feature in their hit reality series, The Osbournes, up for sale. In 75, Earth, Wind & Fire had their first and only number one song with Shining Star topping the charts. I did not know that Shining Star was it. You're going to tell me Reasons never made it to number one? I thought maybe even Boogie Wonderland would make it to number one. Seriously? Earth, Wind & Fire only had one song go to number one? I mean, they have so many great songs. Get Away. Oh, Jesus Christ. Earth, Wind & Fire was so good, man. Only one number one song. I would have never guessed that. For sure, Reasons. That's the Way of the World. That has number one hit all over it. And they only had one number. Wow. Exploding mind right there. In 2007, on this date, the Arctic Monkeys won the best album at the Ivor Novello Awards for their record, Whatever People Say I Am, That's What I'm Not. The event also saw Amy Winehouse win Best Contemporary Song for her hit single, Rehab. God, that woman ruined an amazing skill.
So there you go. Music history, a little GNR. Oh, and if you're an Oasis fan, I am. I saw Oasis open up for U2 back in 97. So they were in their heyday at that time. And then I saw them again, like for one more album. I think it might have been the next album. Yeah, I think an agreement here. Earlier this year, Noel Gallagher stated in an interview that Liam should call him if he's serious about an Oasis reunion, while Liam called out Noel for damaging the Oasis brand and band in a response tweet. Now Noel has reiterated his stance in a new interview, and Liam has once again turned to social media for a response. Noel Gallagher spoke with Talk Sport White and Jordan about the possibility of a reunion, with the guitarist, singer, songwriter stating, "We'll put a reunion out there. I mean, he could call me. He's forever going on about it. You have thought by now that he'd have some kind of plan. And if he's got a plan, he should speak to me. He won't speak to me because he's a coward." So the elder Gallagher added, "But he should get some of his people, his agent, to call my people and say, look, this is what we're thinking, and then we'll have a conversation about it. Until then, here's a little bit of disingenuous. I'm open to a phone call. Other than that, stop playing with the kids. It's not fair to the fans." So after the news of Noel's latest interview stated that are making the rounds, Liam turned to Twitter to voice his thoughts. He says, "I don't wish AIDS on people. I turn up and play the music for the people of Manchester who have just had a terror attack while you sit on your dinghy sipping champagne, and you got the audacity to call me a coward. Sit down, whatever." Anyway, so the Manchester reference dates back to 2017 when Liam called for a reunion after a terror attack of Ariana Grande's concert, joining the One Love Manchester bill. When Noel didn't join the benefit concert, Liam performed and later called out his brother on social media. He says, "Manchester, I'd like to apologize for my brother's absence last night. Very disappointed. Stay beautiful, stay safe." He then followed, "Noel's out of the effing country. Weren't we all love? Get on a effing plane and play your tunes for the kids, you sad fuck." And then adding, "F the reunion, mate. If it ain't about Oasis, it's about helping other people." And he's once again shown his true effing colors. Noel and Liam, it never ends. Or Liam and Noel, it never ends. And we lose, right? Morrissey and Johnny Marr can't stand each other. We lose. We don't see the Smiths. Just lost Andy Rourke, too. But, I mean, let's be honest. It's like, I never understand these kind of bands. And look, we lose Lennon when he gets murdered, and we never get the Beatles reunion. And then there's regret for the rest of your life. And I just don't get it, man. These brothers are just a-holes, dude. Absolute a-holes is what they are. Sad. Absolutely sad. But what can I tell you? It is what it is. Tonight, by the way, Panthers and Hurricanes. Panthers are favored by a goal and a half. Florida leads 3-0. Can they do what the Heat could not last night? Finish it off with the sweep. The Knights dominated Dallas last night to take a 3-0 lead. Marcia Salt, by the way, former Panther, with a goal in that game. Hill had the shutout. He had 34 saves. Panthers, man, finish it off tonight, because it looks like the Knights are going to finish off Dallas. I got a good feeling about the Panthers tonight. I think they're going to be able to get it done. I'm going with that. What else do we have? Let's see. Navarro Bowman was visiting the Dolphins practice. He's a former Fangio guy. Could be there for a couple tips, or it could be there because he's just a football junkie and gets along with Fangio and wanted to go by and see a little football. We're going to have Omar Kelly, by the way, joining us here at the top of the hour. If you have any questions you want me to ask him, I will definitely ask him some stuff about OTAs yesterday. Today, no access. Today, they're not practicing. Tomorrow, they'll go back to practice, but the media has no access tomorrow. So there you go. Cameron Fleming, by the way, signed with the Denver Broncos, a 1-year deal worth up to $4 million with incentives. And I told you that it looked to me like he was holding out for more money. And sure enough, he goes back to Denver for 1 year. Nobody else was offering him that much money. And Isaiah Wynn ends up signing for $2.3 million, could be worth up to $2.7. So a lot less than what Cameron Fleming is getting. All right, let's take a quick break. When we come back, hour number 3, Omar Kelly is next. So here's the putting green. See? There you go. Got 2 flags. One is over there where Cutter's Edge Pro. It's not coming out now. Come on. Come on, wind. Give me a little wind. No, unfortunately. But there you go. And this one says Big O here. There you go. So there's my putting green. About, I would say about 25 feet, something like that. I get to practice, have a little fun. See? And then, of course, we got, the bunkers. Got to have the bunkers, man. Got all kinds of bunkers there. You know what I'm saying? So that's a taste of our backyard. There's Maiden right there. Maiden. Bono, how you doing, Bono? Bono. He's a Carolina dog, by the way. These dogs are amazing. Their temperaments are awesome. But there is the Sylvester Palm, which is just beautiful. All right, call my guys, Will and Mike at Cutter's Edge Pro. They will take care of you. Dogs are not included, okay? Can't include the dogs. Those are mine. But the exceptional work, oh, baby. Oh, baby. Yes. Make your home an oasis. CuttersEdgePro.com. Go to their Instagram page, by the way, so you can see a lot of the before and after work that they do. And it is exceptional, baby. This thing's been on here for about 9 months. No grass growing through it or anything like that. Right, Bono? Huh? Bono!
There's no need to drive around South Florida wasting valuable time looking for a new or certified pre-owned Acura. Go to the #1 volume sales dealership in the Southeast United States. Craig Zins Acura of Pembroke Pines. Purchase with pace and space in a dealership tailored to your needs. From home buying to providing that personal touch. Contact the 2020 Satisfaction Award winner Craig Zins Acura of Pembroke Pines. 888-776-5123. That's 888-776-5123. Or visit them at 15601 Pines Boulevard in Pembroke Pines.
For over 16 years, EJDconstruction.com has provided South Florida residents quality craftsmanship, accurate project management, and exceptional service. That's why EJDconstruction.com is an A-rated member of Angie's List and the Better Business Bureau. When you're looking for the right custom home builder for additions or home remodeling, please call my friend Eric at 305-433-4843. That's 305-433-4843 for EJDconstruction.com.
If you're a Miami sports fan, then there's only one store to go to, and that's Caneswear at Miami Fanwear in Davie. They're your one-stop shop for all your Inter Miami CFs, Canes, Dolphins, Panthers, and Marlins merchandise. They have hats, t-shirts, game day jerseys, and so much more. Located at 2511 South University Drive in Davie, and open 24/7 online at caneswear.com or intermiamiwear.com. Call them at 954-835-5597. Caneswear, the spot where Inter Miami and all Miami sports fans shop.
When you move, you need a reliable company led by passionate folks, eager to assist its customers during a transitional process that needs to be smooth. Call Essential Moving Experts at 844-368-5750 for all your local and long-distance moving needs. You can rely on Essential Moving Experts. Mention the Big O Show and get $150 off. Family owned and operated, they offer free 30-day storage, full service moving, fully licensed, bonded, and insured. Moving was never so easy. EssentialMovingExperts.com. The viewpoint statements or beliefs expressed on the following program by the host, guests, or callers are not necessarily the opinions of FantasyXS.com, Media Group Inc., ownership, management, sponsors, or website. Time to talk Aqua and Orange, Miami Dolphins fans. It's the Essential Moving Experts Miami Dolphins Exchange with Omar Kelly. When you're looking to move your home or business anywhere in the U.S. from coast to coast, call Essential Moving Experts at 305-602-8369. Flat rates and no surprise charges. EssentialMovingExperts.com. 305-602-8369. Let's talk Dolphins football. Here's Omar Kelly.
All right. How you feeling, baby?
I'm good, man. Yeah, man. Can't complain.
Okay.
I can, but nobody would care.
Well, you can't complain, but apparently there's an Omar Kelly clause over there at camp. So
listen, such is life. It's all entertainment to me. I've been in the locker room for 15 years. You know how that is, where guys, if you're in the locker room, and I haven't been in the locker room for years because of COVID. So I miss the locker room. That's one of the things I do miss. And they joke with you, they tease you, and they make you the butt of the joke sometimes. And that's just part of the nature of it. So
okay,
I wouldn't do it any other way.
Okay. So I saw that you weren't impressed with Mike White's arm, and I'm going, well, wait a minute. He's not impressed with Mike White's arm, or was it the 8 touchdowns, 12 interceptions, 62% completion percentage, and 75 QB rating? What was it? I'm sorry.
Listen, I'm just telling you what I saw. And that doesn't necessarily. And keep in mind, I'm generally a Mike White fan. He is a man crush alum for me in terms of a young player that I wanted the Dolphins to draft. I believe Western Kentucky. Western Kentucky wanted to draft many, many moons ago when he was coming out in the process. Not early rounds, not starting quarterback, but later rounds. So I'm not surprised that his arm is not like that.
I just trip out that people make him more than what he is. Why? Because it's all this Miami thing, and it's like, bro, he's not. He's a nice player, maybe a nice backup for you.
What Miami thing? I'm missing. What?
He's from Pembroke Pines.
Okay, yeah, he went to university school.
But that's why there's this extra juice for him around. It's kind of like the Dalvin Cook thing, like. They could see people signing running backs left and right and drafting a running back. And just because Dalvin Cook's from Miami, that's it. They've got to have him here. They've got to trade him. It's this Miami thing. And by the way, I've also realized this. We get this more from our local Dolphin fans.
Because they're Miami products, you think?
Yeah, there's this extra love affair for any free agent, anybody that might be available, anybody you sign. Teddy Bridgewater, last year there was this, he's coming, he's going to take to his job, this, that. And it's like, bro, did you watch Teddy Bridgewater? Like, do you see him?
I don't know if anybody said he was going to take to his job. I don't know.
I didn't say, no, I'm not saying you. I'm saying.
No, definitely not me. I like Teddy.
I got plenty of people doing that, but my point is there's just always this extra juice for anybody that's tied to Miami one way or another, and it comes from the heart and soul of it comes from our Dolphin fan base that's local. The Dolphin fan base that's outside of South Florida or maybe even outside of Florida, anywhere in the world, they have a less disconnect.
Ooh.
And they're objective about
you hitting the hornet's nest right there, because I
Oh, wait a minute. What happened there? Why did we lose him?
I'm still here. I'm
still
here.
Okay, go ahead. What'd you say?
I said you were hitting you're hitting. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we got you.
I said you're hitting the hornet's nest because I have said and stand by this as somebody who's covered the team for 15 years and travels on a regular basis. The out-of-town Dolphin fan is much stronger. Fan base is much stronger, much more loyal, much more educated than the in-town Dolphin fan.
Well, the in-town Dolphin fan is too emotional. Way too emotional, bro. Wow, they overreact on a whole bunch of shit. Yes, I would agree with that.
I don't know if they're too emotional, but they're
about Miami things, about Miami people.
I think they take it for granted. I think I don't know about the Miami thing or Miami people, because
that's what I feel.
I'm not sure this team. I mean, not sure people can name anybody else from South Florida that's on the roster. Not even Jalen Phillips, because Jalen Phillips is from South Florida. Getting back to the Mike White thing, if we're talking about, and you know how it is out there at OTAs and practice, you're trying to figure out what you think, what you see, what you observe, and me and Poop talked about this on the podcast. Did you hear that?
Yeah. You and Poop talked about that on the podcast.
Me and Poop talked about this on the podcast that's being put up today. I was in my mind, I was sitting a row in front of him. Barry was like behind us. We were sitting in a triangle, paying attention, talking through practice. And I was thinking to myself, Poop is going to have to talk me out of writing what I wrote about Mike White. And then I didn't say it out loud. And then Poop says to me, Omar, you're going to have to talk me out of writing something bad about Mike White. And I was like, well, damn. And I said, I was thinking the exact same thing to you, because it's the first look-see of practice. You don't want to rip a guy or bring up the ultra negative. I didn't talk about Channing Tindall looks like he has no clue what the hell he's doing again for year 2.
He did. He looked out lost. Wow.
Lost.
Well, it is a new system too now, so
bro, jam. So every time you give this guy a new system, he's gonna look lost.
Well, he's only second year in second.
Hey, listen, I'm not.
It's tough enough for a rookie to learn shit. Now you got to learn it all over again. It's like I got to give him a little bit of a break there, bro. You know what I'm saying? Now,
bro, if there was a position begging for somebody to step up, it's that one. And
not only that, here's where I don't give him as much of a break like I did last year. You had a year of NFL football. You had a year of watching other people. You had a year of getting your body right, your mind right, all that. So, okay, I get it's a new system, but you already kind of know what the NFL is like, bro. Time to grow up, okay?
And you come from you come from a premier program.
Yeah. Listen, your kid graduates from college, right? Now they go job hunting. Okay, first year, maybe you have a job or two. Bro, let's go. You graduated. Let's go. Life hits you.
You just want them to get something. Anything?
Get your goddamn job. Let's go. Work every day. Pay your bills. Learn how to be a productive citizen in this world. Let's go. You know,
Okay.
and to me, that's what.
What about my dream of starting my own business, Dad?
Yeah, well, there you go. There you go.
What,
And so
I want to be
I expect Jenny Tindo to, brother, let's go. We don't have
Yeah,
time. Let's
I hear you.
go.
But getting back to the Mike White, the point was I thought Poop was going to talk me out of writing something about the arm. Then Poop is like, I need you to talk me out of writing something about the arm. And I said, damn, well, if both of us are sitting here thinking the same thing without even communicating, like it has to be written. I'll be the bad guy because you know, everybody got to play their role. Some guys are bad cop, some guys good cop. I know I'm the bad cop. Like, let me just do what I do. Don't intentionally mean to be the bad cop, but I know the role that I play in your movie, Dolphin fans. So, you know, like it was. I'm not even going to lie. It was disappointing. It was really disappointing. And like Skylar Thompson should not have a far superior arm to you.
Well, he does have a good arm. Skylar does have a nice arm, bro.
It's okay. It's all right.
Well, I'm not telling you it's a cannon.
Yeah, it's good enough. It's good enough.
Yeah,
and mind you,
good enough for the NFL. More than good enough. Yeah.
This coach does not need a cannon. Does not need nor want a cannon. He wants accuracy. He wants a smart QB. So Mike White fits the bill.
But I got to tell you something. You saw it last year in that mid-range throw. Skylar put some mustard on it. Okay. On the mid-range throws, I'm not talking about deep throws or whatever. I'm not going to compare it to.
I know he's a 7th round pick, but I expected him to play a lot better than he did last year when he got his opportunity. And I understand he shouldn't have been on the field because, it is. But Skylar was very impressive.
Did he look more comfortable yesterday?
I've seen him practice better. Okay. My expectation of like. You got to understand, when I left and stopped watching the team, Skylar was playing really well.
Yeah, in the preseason.
Yeah, in the practices and in the preseason. And then we get to the games, and it's like, and I understand that
there's no longer vanilla coverage anymore.
Yeah, I understand things. They put up little sprinkles and some.
You're no longer playing against the second and third and fourth and fifth stringers. Yeah, you're now playing against the top boys, and it's a whole different ballgame. And he's got that. That's an adjustment for him. That's part of the growing process. So
I looked at Skylar as a player where, okay, we don't need Teddy Bridgewater next year. Skylar's going to be that dude. And he wasn't. And they went and got Mike White. And now what I'm telling you is I don't think it's a lock that Mike White's better than Skylar at this point. Like,
I never thought that at any point.
I wouldn't.
The guy's thrown 8 touchdowns and 12 interceptions. How is he anything great so far? I've watched him. It's just this Miami thing, dude. He's all right, and maybe he has a chance to be a decent backup. But I don't look at Mike White as a starter, dude. I mean, not yet. At least he hasn't done enough to even convince me he's anywhere near a starter. It's this love affair because he's from Pembroke Pines. It's just that's why we get bombarded by people.
I barely even remember he's from university school, but hey, I want him to do well. I want him to
Crowder school. Didn't Crowder?
Yes.
Okay. Did he coach that kid?
No, I don't think he did.
Oh, he was there right before Crowder got there. Okay.
I don't think Crowder's been there that long.
He coached the receiver. He coached the receiver that just got drafted.
Did he? Oh, I didn't
know.
Yeah.
The receiver that just got drafted.
But Crowder coached defense, so I don't know. He ain't taking credit for coaching the receiver.
Okay. I know, but he was around the kid there. What is it? Zay Jones, right? Is the kid's name?
Zay Jones went to university school?
Is it Zay Jones, the kid that got drafted this year? Yeah. He went to university school.
Okay.
And by the way, how do you know he didn't
play Flowers? You mean Zay Flowers?
Zay Flowers. That's it.
Yeah,
Zay Jones is the other guy. It's the guy who ran naked through the hotel and through a glass
window. I didn't
window.
know Zay Flowers when I don't pay attention. I know he was a local kid.
By the way, how do you know he didn't play for Crowder? Because in high school, a lot of these guys are two-way players, like your super studs. Obviously, so maybe he played a little corner too for Crowder. I have no idea. I'm not sure.
Yeah,
so I don't know, but I do know he played on the school that Crowder.
Yeah, I think Crowder started coaching there probably 4 or 5 years ago. So and Mike White's been in the NFL 5 years now, so he had a college career that started at USF and then Western Kentucky, and But listen, it is what it is. My conclusion and synopsis of this whole Mike White diatribe is I don't think it's a lock that he's better than Skylar Thompson. So
I have no problem with that.
Yeah.
I have no problem with that. I never thought he was. I just thought it was good competition for Skylar is the way I looked at it. And that's what I'm looking forward to is that competition. Austin Jackson, credit to him because nothing's gone his way. He hasn't played well. Then he had the brutal injuries last year that kind of sidelined him. Before he even started his pro career, his final year in college was kind of marred because he had to give his
bone marrow,
bone marrow to his sister and
save his sister's life. Yep.
Right. And then he wasn't able to practice, didn't have kind of, and he got through that season. And then you watch him and his attitude has been exceptional. Last year, he had a great attitude going into camp and he was starting to make some progress. And then this year he comes out again, great attitude, working on his body. I admire the fight because we could talk about Noah and there's really nothing there. We could talk about others that, like Preston Williams would make up shit for why his situation is his situation. I admire Austin Jackson, never pointed fingers, never blamed anybody, never made excuses. And he has stayed positive and has worked his ass off. I hope it pays off for him, but I have to give him the props for the professionalism that he has shown throughout all this adversity for him.
Okay.
Props.
Yeah.
So I'm saying, I don't know what player he's going to be, but at least the man has given himself an opportunity to succeed. That's all I can say about him.
What I loved about the situation in the interview is that he's got a tremendous amount of awareness to his position. He knows that the Dolphin fan base despises him. He knows every meet. He literally we showed up to talk to him. He literally called us all out by name, first and last, and giving you the awareness like, I know who you are. I know what you've been saying. He says, I read a lot. He knows everything that everybody has said about him. He's taken names and he says he's angry, excited. And I always love contract years, pay for play kind of seasons, play for pay kind of seasons, just like Christian Wilkins. And I want to point this out. Christian Wilkins, he might probably be a little tipped at me because I said I personally wouldn't pay him $15 million.
I know you're out of your mind, but that's a whole different ball.
Bro, are we really paying defensive tackles $20 million a year? Is that what we're doing?
That's where the market's going. What do you want?
We're sitting here crying and complaining that
the guy's a hell of a player, Omar.
He is a hell of a player. I never said he wasn't. But we're sitting here crying and complaining that Agba.
Remember, we on one of those Christian Wilkins conversations, you did not realize how good he was.
As a rookie, I didn't think he had that great of a season.
Well, I get that. But last year, you didn't realize how big.
No, I didn't. I didn't know he was like 3 tackles from 100, which is ridiculous. Like I didn't. Yes, I admit I didn't study
more tackles last year than Raekwon Davis has in his entire career.
That's not the point. They don't do the same thing. That's not fair. I don't like to
shout do a little more if you're Raekwon Davis, by the way. You got to average more than half a sack a year, bro. Let's go.
Wow. Damn. Raekwon Davis's job is not to get sacks, though. I mean,
what does he do?
Okay, hold on. Here's my thing. Here's my point. And I wrote about this today in sort of an observation piece. We're sitting here, the Dolphin fan base is sitting here crying and complaining for Christian Wilkins. Oh, he needs a new deal. Man's making $10.7 million this year. Yeah. And here he is, Raekwon Davis, Zach Sealer, both in the exact same spot, making $1.4 million this year.
Yeah. Except Zach Sealer makes a hell of a lot of plays.
Yeah.
The other guy doesn't, bro. That's, come
Listen,
on.
I think I think you're holding him to the standard of what he looks like he's a D nose tackle. Bro, you act like he's on the field on third downs. He's not.
I look at him like, bro, you're a big mofo. You should be blowing some shit up. You should be disrupting shit like all the time. You should be moving earth. And I don't see you moving earth. And by the way, if he does it this year, then we have a dilemma.
Oh, you have a dilemma no matter what.
Well, I know, but no, you have it exactly. You're 1,000% right. We have a dilemma no matter what, because if he kicks ass this year and plays like he never has, now you have to decide: am I giving a contract to a guy that's just played for a contract, or am I giving a guy? Is this guy a con artist, or did he finally mature? And
or did he play in a scheme that fits him better? Because I look at Raekwon Davis, and I've had somebody say this to me. I can't remember who it was, but he was a defensive line coach or a defensive player or a defensive lineman. He said to me that Raekwon is too big and too tall to be playing the nose, to be playing the zero, because how are you going to get underneath somebody at 6'7"?
Yeah.
I've heard this. Now
that makes sense. That makes sense.
You put him as a 4-3 defensive tackle, and his job is just to blow up the guard. Maybe he could do that, or shoot the gap. Maybe he could do that. I don't know. But we have these disappoint. His job is to take up two blockers. Last year they were like the 4th best run defense in the NFL. I think he did his job. I mean, I've had the conversation with him at some point when I was being critical of him, I'm sure, and he basically said, I judge myself based on how well we do against a run. That's all I could do, because I don't play passing downs.
Right.
So
no, I know.
Where we are against the run is how well I do. And I think that was the season he came back from like a knee injury, and they drastically got better with him. Actually,
he hasn't been bad.
Yeah,
but he just hasn't been special. He hasn't been second round. Like, okay,
but do we need everybody to be special?
What was it? A punt play or the kick? Was it a field goal? Was it a punt or whatever that towards the end of the season that he just blew that shit up, and it was a key play in the game, and it was like one of those like, yo, Raekwon, that's what we need to see from you every once in a while, bro. Not every 2 months. And that's the problem, that there has to be a little bit more from him from that position. There has to be a couple more of those tackles for losses. Yeah. There has to be something where he just, and that was a special teams play that he did that when he blew that shit up. That wasn't even on a regular down. That was on a special teams down. And so to me,
I would line him up against the center. I would line him up against the center and say, destroy this guy every day.
Yes. And that's what I'm hoping for, because we just don't see it from him on a consistent basis. And it's not like the ability is not there. The ability is there, bro. Bro, you're big, you're strong, you're athletic, you can move. You're talented, man. Just a little bit more from him. I get it. We're not going to get 10 sacks from his ass. That's not who he is. But he needs to blow some stuff up. Cam Fleming. I thought money was the issue while he was still hanging around. He ends up getting a deal that could be worth up to $4 million. Isaiah Wynn, younger, maybe considered more upside than the 30-year-old Fleming.
A little bit more versatility.
More versatility. He's going to play guard too. 2.3 to 2.7 million. Mm-hmm. Your thoughts on passing up on Fleming and going with Isaiah Wynn for less money, and maybe they think it's more upside. Your thoughts on that decision overall?
The fact that Butch Barry, I can't remember his name. You got
it right. You got it right.
Yeah, the fact that Butch Barry coached him in Denver and was not like, oh, we got to have this guy. Or maybe he didn't want to play for Butch Barry again, because there is some issue with Denver coaches. I believe you were.
Barry he doesn't have a good rep. I get it.
Yeah, I'm hearing a lot about that. I don't know him from. I couldn't spot him in a lineup, and the offensive line works so far from us that I can never hear them or see them, really, to be honest. You know where they work. They work in the furthest corner from us. So
Right.
it's hard to really see them. But yeah, I haven't heard good things.
Here's a recap from one person. He's an idiot. He got fired mid-season for incompetence. The players hated him, openly laughed at him, and called him a joke. When Hackett was fired, the first thing the interim head coach Jerry Rosburg did was fire him, and the players applauded it when it was announced in the team meeting.
Mm-hmm. I've heard, and I'm not even fishing it out, I've heard a lot of things about how people don't like his coaching style. I don't know what his coaching style is. So I have no, and I have always operated with everybody gets a fresh start from the time you get here. And so, but this keeps coming up, and I'm just like, this is something I got to pay attention to. But he has worked under Mike McDaniels. He has been mentored by an offensive line coach that we had here, the creator of the Unicorns, who shall remain nameless for snorting white powdery substances. So, you know, if you could fix it, however you fix it, I don't care. Just get it done. And who's to say that some of these guys can't use or benefit from a little bit of abuse?
Yeah, no, I've got no problem. Listen, if McDaniel brought him over, there must be something he likes, something that he knows he does, something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And by the way, just like a player, sometimes the coach is put in the wrong role. And maybe his role is more designing offenses and all. Maybe his role is not communicating with linemen or people sometimes. You just never know what the hell is going on behind the scenes at times and what each person's role is and those kind of things. You know what I'm saying? To me, like Joe Philbin might have been a pretty good designer of plays or lines or whatever. And that's what but once he had to cross over to then
coach people.
Right. Actually deal with human beings.
Yeah, deal with human beings, relate to them.
It was like, you heard some of the stories like I did. That guy was going into the personnel office every couple of days, like, I can't coach this guy. I can't coach. And it got to the point where the personnel department turned to him and said, Joe, you can't do this. You have to deal with some of these people. We cannot just trade people just because you don't want them. And it was just that was a thing that with that front office and with the coach that was like, it got to a point where it was just ridiculous. And unfortunately, that's the way it is, bro. You're going to have all kinds of personalities in there. And if you don't know how to manage it, that's the beauty of Mike McDaniel, that he absorbs who you are and he'll keep absorbing. And then he'll go, okay, I got to attack this guy this way. And then he'll kill you with kindness or humor or love or inspiration or whatever. Find something, rap, music, whatever. He'll find something to connect with you because that's who he is, bro. Philbin could not do that. And I don't know if this guy, Butch Berry, has that issue.
Yeah, I'm not sure if Brian Flores can do that either. But yeah.
They didn't do well at UM either, by the way. So
yeah, I heard that. I like to keep things a blank slate, but I've counted coaches and it's been 7 in the last. I think 5 years or something like that. I'm like, this is while we want to sit here and take shots at Chris Greer because he can't build an offensive line. Let's not pretend like there hasn't been an absolute turnstile of coaches coming in and out of here like the last couple of years.
Yeah,
that's contributed to it as well. And even Austin Jackson addressed this, and I know he wasn't intentionally addressing this, but he's had a different offensive line coach every single year he's been here.
Yeah.
Like, think about how many different techniques and approaches and styles that comes with. Like, are you serious?
No, do it this way. No, do it this way. And then the next
Yeah. No, do it this way. And he's at 3 different positions, 5 different offensive line coaches. I think he hasn't had 5. He's had 4. This is his 4th. But this is come on. You got to create some stability, some sort of consistency, some sort of continuity, and then see what happens from that. And this offensive line hasn't had any of that.
What do you got going on SI so folks can check you out, my friend?
As I said, I just posted something about my other observations. Navarro Bowman being there, practice, basically working with, coaching up the linebacker. What could this mean for them? Linebacker is a unit that probably sits atop my list of concerns at the present moment. They're all tiny, bro. They're tiny. And
yeah, I know. I read it. And by the way, Bowman is the kind of guy that looked like he would have the coaching in his future. He looks like that kind of. So he's probably starting his coaching. Ladder. The process is probably what he's doing now. Mm-hmm. Him and Fangio have that history. Yeah, come on down. I'll teach you a couple things. Get you going and all that. So I'm not surprised a guy like Navarro Bowman is headed into coaching. That's
and just different things and observations that you pick up when your first time and opportunity to see the team. Small things like, Eric Saubert is bigger than Durham Smythe, which is a surprise to me. I didn't really, you think of Durham Smythe inline guy, you think of like, oh, he's going to be the biggest guy. And then here comes Eric Saubert, and I'm like, oh, okay, this guy's kind of bigger. Just little observations like that.
How about getting Higgy with it? Anything with Higgins?
Higgins, I saw him make a couple. I was paying more attention to the routes that they were asking those tight ends to do and use, and how they were using them. I'm sure he caught a pass here or there. I just didn't really stand out to me. They have safety issues as well, and I understand that was a day where not everybody was there or not everybody was working, and Brandon Jones is working on the side, but I'm not comfortable with where they are from at linebacker, at safety, and then also I would throw a D. If I had to add, I'm looking at this roster and I would add 3 veterans to this team, and there would be a defensive end, a linebacker, inside linebacker, and a safety added to this team right now. Now, hopefully some young guy steps up and says, yeah, I'm ready to fill that void like Aubrey Miller. But right now, hey, you better cover yourself, because one injury, you're not very good at those positions.
I'm with you there. All right, follow him on Twitter at Omar Kelly and catch his work there at Sports Illustrated, and also catch their podcasts. Him and Poop also do a little podcast going back and forth there. As always, thank you, my friend. We will catch up next week. Appreciate it.
Right. Appreciate it, man.
Thank you, sir. And call my guy Sean Williams at Essential Moving Experts, 305-602-8369. Moving anywhere in the country, across the country, across the states, from state to state, inside the county, moving your business, your home. They do it all. If you need movers you can trust, EssentialMovingExperts.com, proud sponsors of our show. Huge Dolphins fans, by the way. That's why the business is in Dolphins colors. 386-213-4054. That's 386-213-4054.
You've been listening to the Essential Moving Experts Miami Dolphins Exchange with Omar Kelly. When you're looking for local, home, long moving services, or office relocation, call Essential Moving Experts at 305-602-8369. Flat rates and no surprise charges. EssentialMovingExperts.com. 305-602-8369. Miami Dolphins fans, follow Big O Radio Show on all platforms and keep up with your favorite NFL team.
All right. All right, let's keep it going with a little Dolphins talk. OTAs. Let's unleash the Wolf Pack. Cameron Wolf.
We unleash the Wolf Pack as we get the latest in the NFL and the Miami Dolphins with our KSDT CPA Pro Football Report with NFL Network insider Cameron Wolf. KSDT is one of South Florida's largest and one of the country's fastest growing accounting firms. KSDT CPA is a full-service firm that also excels in crypto. Visit them at ksdtcpa.com or call 305-670-3370. Here's NFL insider Cameron Wolf.
There he is, locked and loaded and ready to go. How you feeling, baby? You feeling good?
I'm good. Oh, how you feeling?
I can't complain. Colonoscopy and all. Yes, clean bill of health.
Everything's clean in there.
Yeah, bro. He told me you don't have to come back for 5 years.
Hey, that's good.
And
That's
so,
good.
but I screwed up. I screwed up because you're supposed to do it when you get to 50. And I'm almost 57. I'll be 57 October 1st. So we're only a couple months away. I'm closer to 57, 56. And I want to encourage people out there that, go get it. And by the way, I'm an idiot because I just thought of, the uncomfortableness, the embarrassing. It just seems like a really, kind of an uncomfortable checkup. Out of all checkups, that's the one checkup that you just, I just want you to know it is the most professional, decent, very, 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 very clean way of doing things that you don't even realize it. You don't know it. It's just, they've got it down to a science that is awesome. So I encourage, especially you're too young, Cam.
I was about to say, so I hear this, and I'm sure you're right about all these things, and I encourage everybody who needs to go do it to do it. But I still am going to be very uncomfortable with the idea of something going up my,
I get it. I get it.
So
totally
I
understand.
won't ever get past that.
Having a camera in her ass. I get it.
Yeah.
I get it. A camera in your ass is not something that you look forward to, but I'm just telling you that it's the most simplest thing. And you're going to, after the experience, you're going to go, really, dude, I put this off for that. That's just dumb.
I think you're probably right, but I don't believe you.
I know, but trust me. And by the time you got to do it, they'll probably make it even easier for you. Because I didn't have to.
I can't wait. I hope they don't even have to go in. They can just scan me with a picture and be like, good.
They might be able to do. They might be able to do with MRIs or some crap like that. Apropos word. But something like that, they probably by the time you've got to do it. But back you used to have to drink a whole bunch of disgusting liquid and all that. Now it's just some pills. So it's it's really not bad. So I talked about it at the beginning of the show. I encourage everybody, once you get to 50, please go do it. Don't do what I did. I got lucky. You know what I'm saying? And by the way, it's not so much the procedure, because the procedure is a joke and all that. The worst part, Cam, is really your mind, because for the 24 hours, 36 hours leading up to it, your mind is screwing with you constantly. Like, what if I have this? What if I have that? Oh my God. What if I find out? And that's really the worst part, because human nature is, when you're going to go see the doctor, you just think the worst things.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's the sad part. All right. So we had some OTAs yesterday.
We did.
I was telling Omar this, and I don't know if you feel the same way, but I have a lot of admiration for Austin Jackson, because it is really easy to give up when you have had some failure, the injuries, the year that coming out of the draft, he had to give bone marrow. He couldn't practice. His strength wasn't even at 100%, yet he sucked it up for his team and played the entire year. He had a great attitude last year, going into everything. He was starting to show you a little something in training camp, and then he gets injured, obviously. And again, yesterday, he looks fantastic. He never points fingers. He never makes excuses. Sometimes we've seen the Preston Williams of the world.
Yep.
That at times they are aloof and they're blaming everything else except looking inward. And I just admire the fact that there is no give up in this young man, and the attitude he had for, facing the media, I thought was beautiful. And if you're going to succeed in life after struggles and failures, I tell you, use the example of Austin Jackson. That's all I got to say.
One of the things just kind of remember about Austin Jackson is remember what he had to do to, when he got into the league. He gave up marrow for his sister, which weakened him tremendously, had him lose weight as he's starting his NFL journey. He's clearly going through a lot of adversity in his life. And so, I think a lot of times we get caught up in the football element and you start to call people out of their names and call people out of their character. And I don't think that ever should be the case for Austin. Now, the reality is he hasn't played well or stayed healthy throughout his career. And so that's the black and white part of it, is that he hasn't lived up so far to his draft status as a middle first round pick. But the thing about the NFL is it can change in an instance. And so if he goes out here and has a great fifth season, solidifies that right tackle spot, we're talking about a contract extension for the guy where he's making big money. And if he doesn't, then his time in Miami is probably over. And so it's a very important year, but he has every opportunity to redeem himself. I like what he said about being angry, excited, because he is a guy who, like a lot of dudes in the league, listens to what people say about him. And I think it's cool that he embraces it. A lot of people tell you, hey, I don't hear what people say. I block it out. And most of the time it's just BS. These dudes know what is said about them. They're searching their name on social media a lot of times. It's just the reality of it. And so Austin hears it all. He's heard everything people say about him being a bust, and he's using it as fuel. And so he'll either prove everybody wrong or he'll prove them right. And so I would say, like, seeing him in OTAs, and, we're going to talk a little bit about, like, body size, some of the things I put out about Tua and some of these things here. But Austin Jackson, he looked really good. He looked really good. I know everybody's in the best shape of their life in OTAs, but he is in the best shape, it looked like to me, that I've seen him in the league. And so that always helps. He's an athletic player. If he can, maximize his potential, stay healthy. I know the Dolphins, we've talked about this, really want him to win that right tackle spot. Yeah. And it's set up for him to have success this year. And so I hope it works out. He is a good guy. I was chatting with him yesterday after practice. We were laughing about some things. He said, I look like an NFL player size-wise. And I told him I couldn't.
He looks like a defensive end.
Yeah. He said, I did. He said, I look like an NFL player when we were talking. And I said, I couldn't even give you two plays. Don't let it fool you. And so we had a little fun there, but he's I want to see him have success. But just like a couple other dudes on this team, it's a prove it year. We can say a lot about him, but he's got to show it. And I think it would be a good story though if he could get his redemption this year.
I think his redemption and his contract would be a lot different than this guy's. And I'm going to go Raekwon Davis.
Okay, yeah.
And Raekwon Davis, I think, has just kind of been an underachiever, period. Mm-hmm. And he was a high draft pick. And so what happens if Raekwon Davis has a great year and starts to blow shit up like he's supposed to kind of do at times? I'm not asking for 10 sacks. I know he's not going to do that. But you can't have 1.5 sacks in 3 years. You can't average half a sack a year and 31 tackles. You got to do a little bit more. You got to blow some stuff up, like in that what was it, a field goal that he blew up, or the punt? I forgot which one it was on special teams.
Probably field goal.
It was a field goal, and he blew that shit up, and it was a huge play in the game, and there aren't enough of those moments with Raekwon. Whereas with Austin Jackson, I feel like he's had a lot of bad luck. And things haven't gone his way. Whereas I think if he plays well, I might feel more comfortable giving him the long-term contract. Whereas you've been in this league long enough to know there are some guys that kind of turn it up on their contract year. And then you wonder, dude, am I just giving this guy the money because he tried in his final year to be the guy we needed him to be, but couldn't do it the other years?
Right.
So would you be more nervous about giving Raekwon Davis a long-term contract after a 1 year finally broken through type of season?
Yeah, so Raekwon Davis is interesting because I'm with you. I don't think he's probably lived up to his draft status, but he's also probably flown under the radar more than Austin Jackson or even a Liam Eichenberg. The offensive line's got a lot more criticism than the defensive line. And so because of that, Raekwon Davis has probably just been, he hasn't got the ire of fans the way that Austin Jackson or Liam Eichenberg have, even for media. And so I think that this was a very key year from him because I thought there was a chance they could sign or draft a defensive tackle to try to replace him. He has not been at the level where you could say, hey, he should be assured a starting job going into the season, at least from what I've seen. But looking at the roster, they don't really have any strong competition for him. He plays more of a nose tackle role. So he's going to play a 40 to 50% of the snaps type play. He's not going to be 100% of the snaps, close to like Christian Wilkins type player. And because of his position, because he's that big kind of gap plugger, he's never going to have the sack numbers. But at the same time, he's got to be a guy that people have to deal with, that you have to send more than one offensive lineman to neutralize. And he hasn't consistently been that guy. And so you got to push him. You got, hopefully you look at a system where you got Vic Fangio in there and maybe that gets more out of him. But yeah, at this point, I wouldn't feel comfortable giving a significant guaranteed commitment to Raekwon, given what he's done. But who knows? Maybe he puts up that year this year that makes it worthwhile reconsidering. But for me, that's a spot we talk about potential additions. I'm still a little worried about the depth, not necessarily in the 3 tech, 5 tech department, but like John Jenkins played a very key role on this team, and John Jenkins left to go to the Raiders. There isn't anybody on that roster other than maybe some undrafted free agents to really replace him. And so you're counting on Raekwon to do a lot. And I would want to go get a vet to at least be the backup, but even more, maybe to compete with Raekwon, to maybe add a little bit more fire under the belly, at least for me.
All right. We'll wrap it up with this. 2 things from OTAs. Give me something that you thought was pleasantly surprising. And I won't say anything disappointing because it's way too early for that shit, but a little head scratching.
I'll start with the obvious thing. And we talk a lot about, Tua in the offense, right? And I talked about this a little bit on NFL Network. Tua looks bigger. And in fact, I found out he's gained several pounds this offseason. He's training with Nick Hicks out there for him. And wait a
minute, but Florio says he weighs 195 pounds.
He does not weigh 195. He weighs way more than that now. I'm telling you that. I'm not going to say what exact weight is, but I know he's gained a lot of weight. And, I think you can see it.
You saw it here.
Yeah, you can see it. Here. You can see it. And his calves are huge. You can see it in his core as well.
He always had a good lower half.
Lower body. Yeah, he's always been big lower body, but I think he looks even bigger. And so people say, okay, well, what does that matter, right? Well, one, you look at a guy who's been injured in his past. If you got more bulk, ideally that protects you from some of the cushioning that you may need to take on some of these hits. Maybe it doesn't save you from all the head hits, but maybe it helps you. Yeah, exactly. Russell Wilson, great point. Russell Wilson was probably, I think, about 205 maybe when he came out in the combine. And I think right now he's probably closer to 230. And he got up to 215, 220 pretty quickly in his career. And so it also ideally helps you. People criticize Tua's arm strength sometimes. If you get stronger, which he has, maybe it gives you a little bit more zip on that ball. And he also has a new helmet. He's rocking a new helmet, as some people saw on OTAs. We talk a lot about the concussions. He's clearly trying something new out to try to minimize that. McDaniel talking about the jiu-jitsu and them using that in their practices because they feel like it'll be a big help, not only for Tua, but all the quarterbacks. And then just kind of seeing some of the it's just OTAs, but just seeing some of the flow of how they are doing the offense, a lot of quick drop backs for Tua, even quicker than we saw last year early in the stage. And then the other thing I probably would say that stood out as a positive is Devon Achane. It's like I said, I don't want to give overhype guys in May, but it stands out to me when you hear veteran teammates rave about him. Jeff Wilson saying that boy is good, and Waddle saying stay tuned. These are dudes who you respect on the team saying this about rookies. Usually rookies have to earn their respect, and clearly he's already earning it. And so that's another toy for Mike McDaniel. I think that's something to be excited about.
I think what we take for granted with Achane, and I don't think we did. Have you watched Air yet?
Yeah.
Okay. So he's breaking down the play.
Yeah.
Right. And he turns to the guy and says, Perkins is on the court. There's a couple stars on the court. And Dean designs the play for MJ, not for any of the other stars that are established on the team.
Yeah.
And by the way, which is, I watched that play live. Okay. Yep. And since that moment, I never thought of it that way until that freaking movie, by the way. Okay.
Yeah.
I never really thought of it that way until the movie. But I'm going to spin it to A-Chain. Okay. And please don't kill me. I'm not trying to tie the two players. But my point is, Dean thought so much of Michael and his maturity and how much he thought of him at that point that he was going to put him in a position to have a heavy responsibility in a key moment in a game. Well, did you watch Texas A&M?
Mm-hmm.
They thought he was mature enough, professional enough, tough enough that they used him all over the damn place.
Right. Right.
They felt great when he had the ball in his hands.
Yep.
So that tells me a lot from the coaching staff what they feel about that player. And that's, I think, the Dolphins not only saw the talent, they also saw the amount of responsibility they laid on A-Chain in Texas A&M, and they said, this is the kind of guy we want, because we do this to Waddle 3 years ago when we made him a possession guy. We did it to Tyreek Hill last year. You know, if Wilson and Mostert have to carry the load, they will carry the load. You know, so they want players that are able to shine in those kind of moments. And I think that's part of what I think that's the vibe he also gives to those veteran players.
Absolutely.
That this isn't just look. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. He adds added juice to an offense that already has all the juice, right? And so it gives defenses another thing to think about. We talked about it after he's drafted. Because of his size, he's probably never going to be a 25 to 30 touch guy. But if your 10 to 15 touches are dangerous, like touchdown threat every time I'm on the field, that makes your offense so much more dynamic. And I'm telling you, I think that even just getting one glimpse of him, I think that he's going to be a player they trust to play in multiple roles. I wouldn't be surprised if you see him put in the slot, put out wide at wide receiver at times, used in the backfield and single back or double back. You can do a lot.
He's going to get 5 to 10 carries.
Right. You could use him in motion. You could use him in fly sweep. So, like, he can be just a playmaker for you in that respect. And so not putting too much on his plate too early, but also knowing that he could be a game changer. And your second question was just kind of something maybe that maybe it's a question. I mean, we've talked a lot about the offensive line, and you know how I feel about that being a concern. So I'll go a different direction because you can't really tell a lot about the offensive line until the pads are on. I'm a little concerned about the inside linebacker depth. I reported earlier this week Andrew Van Ginkel is going to be playing some inside linebacker. Mike McDaniel confirmed that, and we can't tell you what we saw out in practice, but it wasn't a surprise what we saw out in practice, given what I reported. And so you're going to, from what I understand, you're still going to have David Long and Jerome Baker as your starters, but you're going to have Andrew Van Ginkel working in with the second team. Van Ginkel's getting him more play time is good, but he's also learning a position that he hasn't played really since probably.
You see any more meat on Baker?
You said what?
You see any more?
Not anything noticeable. I didn't see him up close, but from a distance.
He's not a middle linebacker. He's not a middle linebacker.
I think you are missing that thumper. Like I know Landon Roberts had mixed reviews in the fan base because he's not the best coverage. He's not the best coverage. Right. He's not his skill set. But what he was good at was the short yardage, get me in 3rd and short, 4th and goal, or get me in a assignment that I feel comfortable with, right? You get me on a big bulking tight end, or get me on somebody that is reasonable. He will handle this.
He'll knock your nuts to your socks.
Exactly. And so I'm worried that they don't have that guy. I know it's a new modern NFL and you have a lot more run speed coverage guys, but you're still going to need a guy when a team is trying to run the 4-minute drill down your throat, who is going to stop them? And I just don't know if there's that guy right now on this team. Jerome Baker is a good player. David Long is a good player, but can those guys be there? And can those guys stay healthy throughout the year to do that? Duke Riley, to me, is a really good 4th linebacker and special teams player. I don't know if I want him to be the first linebacker off the bench if somebody gets hurt. Andrew Van Ginkel has flashed a lot, but can he handle the first linebacker off the bench, inside linebacker off the bench responsibilities? The Dolphins clearly hope so. And Shannon Tyndall, I know he's a 3rd-round pick, but I'm just going to keep it real. He hasn't shown anything to give the Dolphins confidence that he can fill any significant play time as of yet. He's got a lot of time in the offseason to do that. But as of now, I don't know that you can go into the season planning for a huge role for him until he proves to you that he can handle it.
And now that you've changed coordinators, I don't even know if he likes him. I don't know if he feels he fits his system now too. And that's a whole different ball. He's always had big linebackers.
Yeah.
In all his places where he's gone, he doesn't have big linebackers in the
I think all the backers are going to be 235 or under. I don't know what Baker lines up at, but long is under 230. Even the guy they signed as an undrafted free agent, who I like a lot, Aubrey Miller from Jackson State. He's a 230-pound backer. He's probably your best, to me, like on paper, thumper, but he's an undrafted rookie who we don't even know if he's going to make the team. And so to me, that is a little bit of a concern at this stage of the offseason. Maybe not the starters, but maybe more the depth in the specific role that you may be missing there.
Yeah, I'm with you there. All right, what are you working on the NFL Network so folks can check you out this week?
Yeah, did some TV last night. Talked a lot of Dolphins. I will be back on tomorrow night. We're right now our afternoon show is not on, so we're just doing a lot of morning and night shows. And so I'll be back on tomorrow talking some ball, and then I'll be back next week for OTAs. I'll be out there and also for the following week for mandatory minicamp. So you'll get some good Dolphins coverage from me for the next couple weeks. And then I'll travel. Dolphins are finished June 8th. They actually are one of the earliest teams. They want to give their players a little longer break, which I think is a good idea for Mike McDaniel. And then the following week is when most teams have mini camp. I'll go to a couple mini camps across the league, and then we have our summer break for about five-ish weeks, and before training camp gears up. So
looking forward to it. All right, Cam. Follow him on Twitter at Cameron Wolf, and catch him twice a week here doing his thing. The KSDT CPA Miami Dolphins and NFL report. Appreciate you, Cam. We'll catch up later on the week.
All right, see you, man.
Thank you, sir. There you go. And don't forget, if you didn't do your taxes yet, maybe you're a little nervous. And by the way, I heard, the government is going to go after. That's one of the reasons why they hired a lot of extra agents. They're going to go after people that have not filed for the last few years. And that's a lot of people. And listen, you fall into tough times. Maybe you lose a little bit of your responsibilities here or there. Life is tough. You get walloped by all kinds of things, and then you can't do it, or you forgot to do it, or whatever. But you can still fix that, okay? Because they're going to come after you one way or another. There's a QR code right there. You can use it. Put your camera up there, your phone. Connect with the people at KSDT CPAs. Doesn't matter where you're at. You can do this all by phone. All right? Just tell them that Big O sent you. They'll take care of you, man. And if you didn't file yet, maybe they can get you an extension. If you didn't file the year before, the year before that, or 3 years ago, and you want to start catching up here, folks, call the people at KSDT CPAs. Don't do it yourself. Have a professional do it so they can set you up and take care of you and guide you the right way so they can save you money. That's the thing, that in the long run, you're going to save a lot of money because of the advice you're going to get. From advisory to tax to assurance, they do it all. Personal, business, you name it. KSDT CPA. Use that QR code and tell them that Big O sent you.
This has been the KSDT CPA Pro Football Report with NFL insider Cameron Wolf. KSDT is recognized by Forbes as one of the top tax accounting firms for 2022. KSDT CPA is a full-service firm that also excels in crypto. Visit them at ksdtcpa.com or call 305-670-3370.
All right. True Fin fan, by the way, I forgot to mention it to Omar because I was laughing when you sent it. Thank you for the super chat. You put Omar equals the Grinch of Dolphins past, which is so true. So true. That's part of our conversation. Oh, man. Dudley Durong in New Jersey is another great example of a fan who knows more than those in Florida. Doug does a great job. You know what I love about Doug the most, besides him being a great dude? Unlike a bunch of phonies out there, he talks football. He gives you his insight. He gives you his opinion. He knows his shit. but he's not going to tell you, oh, the team is telling me this, or I have insight, or because you got a bunch of these guys out there that act like they know something when they don't know, and it's clear because they never break any stories, and you can tell, everybody guesses. That's what they do, and they make you think, oh, I have some insight, and they guess, and then they get fooled and they're wrong, and then once in a while they'll make the right guess, and they'll treat it like if they had some insight. You know what I'm saying? So it's just crazy shit that, but that's what I love about Doug, that he doesn't lie to people. He is himself, period. Fantastic dude, bro. Let me see. What else do we have here on the chat board? Knight, thank you for the love on the super chat. Give me that Tua 6-pack, LOL. Tua looking good, man. Dude 67 says, I first heard Big O in the 90s on radio. He knows the Dolphins plus great taste in music. Thank you, sir. That's very nice of you. Very nice. Thank you. And yes, I'm old. I've been around a while. I think I remember hearing him on the radio. Grew up in Miami. Now don't live there anymore. Listening to him makes me feel like I'm back home. Thank you, Jamesville. Appreciate it. Very nice of you. I'm getting some compliments here. True FinFat says, I don't have any friends that I can talk reasonable. Come on, sense things pertaining to the Miami Dolphins, surrounded by the normal casual bandwagon fan. I'm 305 24/7, 30 years in. Yeah. Our local fans are, in general, not all of them, but in general, oh my God, they are just, their sway of emotions is super heavy, bro. And there's very little, like common sense and objectivity, and yeah. And that's why I laugh with any Miami player that becomes available or is on the trade block, or that's it. The fan base goes crazy. They've got to have him, and he's the greatest of them all. Just because he's from Miami, just because he went to UM, or just because he went to Dade, Broward, Palm Beach school or something, it's the craziest shit, dude. It really is. As Zukama, in Omar's words, looked like a pro running routes. Well, it's OTAs, So I'm not going to put too much into it. I need to see him, take the next step in practices and then preseason and games, because he disappeared last time when it started to count. In practice, it's a whole different ball game. I need you to do better than practice. Barkov is going to play. He's, game time tonight, but he's playing. He was at the pre-skate this morning. Barkov's going to play. They're going to try to finish these guys out. What's up there, Sean?
Paul Maurice already said he's a go.
Yeah. He was already at practice and all that, so we're good. Barkov will play. But I got to tell you something. This team can win without Barkov. Okay? I mean, I'm sorry if that makes you mad, but I'm impressed with this team to the point that they can win without Barkov. I got to tell you. Good deal going on with Jasmine right now, dude. Holy moly. Holy moly. Holy moly. Yeah, baby. Good deals going on with Jasmine. We got some disturbing news. Ja Morant. And this thing, did you see this story, Sean, already? Cops do a welfare check on Ja Morant after concerning posts. Now, the claims are he's taking a social media break. So he puts on a post. You know what I should do? I should actually bring it up here so you guys can see it. Okay, let me get it for you guys here, because he puts up a post and it says, "Love ya, Ma. with a heart. Then he puts love ya pops with a heart. Then he put you're the greatest baby girl with a heart, love ya. And then he put bye, stay strong, Ja. And so then there's 4 pictures in it, right? And let me show you the 4 pictures in it. And in the 4 pictures, you see it. There they are. And one, it's love you, Ma, love you, Dad. And then the baby girl. And then the bottom, it says bye. And he's kind of turned. So they went to his house to go check and see if he's all right. And wow, that's just disturbing. You know what I'm saying? So Morant's post, he shared on pictures with him, his mom, his daughter, before writing a caption, nothing more than bye. The posts were then deleted a short time later. Given the turmoil that surrounded him since he's been brandishing a gun on video the second time in less than 3 months, fans expressed big worry for the 23-year-old basketball player. Fortunately, everything seems okay. So Morant said very little publicly since his second gun video, releasing just a one statement and, you know, the bullshit statement. Because his statement was absolute and pure garbage. His statement don't mean shit, unfortunately. But there you go. That's rough stuff, dude. Right there. Yeah. So let's hope that this young man figures things out. Because he's got a lot of talent, a ton of talent. Congratulations to Inter Miami. They move on to the Elite Eight in the U.S. Open Cup. They defeated Nashville last night 2-1. Now, one more win, and we get another team in a Final Four. So pretty cool. If they can get one more win, Inter Miami will join several others here in South Florida to make it to the best 4 teams in their respective sports. And in the U.S. Open Cup, it's not MLS, it's for the U.S. Open Cup. I still think it's very important for a franchise like Inter Miami that's new. You want to establish a culture of winning. And to me, I've always felt anyways, we should take the U.S. Open Cup serious, all levels, because I think it's important to sell the sport at all levels. And I hated that MLS teams on average would use their backups and all that kind of stuff. I get it in other parts of the world, but here you kind of want to sell the sport as much as you can, top to bottom, and make it as important as possible to all fan bases at all levels. To me, that would be the cool thing to try to help make it grow. But anyway, I'm really happy for them. I hope that they're able to get to the finals and win it all, man. That would be really, really nice. The other story, LeBron talking about retirement. Is that the biggest load of shit or what? LeBron is so full of shit. Is his eyes brown? Are his eyes brown? Because maybe that's how much full of shit he is. So he doesn't want you to talk about his sweep, so he throws retirement out there. He doesn't want the fan base to, hang around, worry too much about retirement. About the sweep. So let's worry about his retirement because we got to get him back because we got no team if he leaves. He's 40 years old. He still played well in that last game. He produced. He had to do that in every game, and AD could not be scoring 20 points. But that's another conversation. But to his credit, he still plays well, and he still can play at a high level even at his age. Why would he quit? He's an egomaniac. He can't live without tweeting something and putting himself in the middle of anything and everything out there. You think he's going to leave this game when he can still play? He just did whatever he can to take the heat off of him losing again and, getting bounced 4 straight losses against the Denver Nuggets. When really he has nothing to be embarrassed about, because I get it. You went there to win championships and you got your little break with the Heat and their injuries. But overall, your team's not good enough. You're not supposed to win a championship. You're not better than Denver. It's like the Heat. The Heat are already playing with house money. They've overachieved for 4 straight years practically. It's what they are. But that's what LeBron's doing, taking away the attention from getting swept, and then at the same time try to mess with the front office to intimidate them and try to get them to whatever he wants to do, because that's what he's trying to always do, manipulate the rosters, since he's been such a phenomenal GM. His titles, I believe he would have more titles here if he would have stayed. His 2 titles came from a suspension and an injury after he left. So the basketball gods gave him some good fortunes and some good breaks to help him along the way. Mike Monahan says, the South Florida effect, LOL, it's true, Big O. I think it comes from watching other NFL teams and finding out their stars are from here. Maybe. Or taken by UM or UM players that go elsewhere. That's a good point, Mike. I kind of like that. But I'll tell you this, as a guy that hears it from fans all over, the least objective Dolphins fan is the one that lives in South Florida. On average. Not everybody, but on average. The more objective Dolphin fan lives outside of South Florida. It's crazy, but it's the truth. Oh, will you show up to a Cats game if they make it to the Stanley Cup? Probably not. Probably not. I mean, if you tell me that a bunch of you are going to meet me at the game outside or out before the game or something, I would do that. I'll go up there and meet you guys. I got no problem to do that. But I doubt it. Oh, wait a minute. That's not true. If there's a Vegas listener that has tickets and has one spare ticket that, they can invite me to, I'll fly over and get a hotel. I'll pay for my flight and hotel out there just so I can experience a Vegas game against the Panthers in the Stanley Cup. But overall, I want to experience the Vegas thing, because that is awesome. And to do it in a Stanley Cup, that would be really cool. Okay. So that's the only way I probably will show up at a Panthers Stanley Cup game, is if somebody out in Vegas treats me to a ticket out there, and I'll go. That's it. That's the only way. Outside of that, man, I wanted to go to basketball games this year, and with all the work I do, I didn't want to be there all night and then post game and all that, and then I got to come back to do my show the next day, and I just dude, I get more work done here watching it from television. So, I live in Portland, and I know this is a mediocre franchise. Yeah. They lost their juice a while back, unfortunately. It's a shame too, because they got one of the great players in Dame Lillard, and he, never really is going to enjoy a championship in that place. All right, we are out of here. We thank Matt Verderam, Omar Kelly, Cameron Wolf. Of course, everybody that called in, tuned in. Appreciate you all out there, as always. We will see you tomorrow, live from Hialeah Park at 3 p.m., 3 to 6 tomorrow afternoon show. Thanks to Sean Stanley, the man, the myth, the legend that masters this program every single day. We'll see you tomorrow. Same time, same place, same bat channel.
This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.